For the Winds Productions presents A Simple Man's Brand production in conjunction with J. Hebert Studios. And now, A Simple Take with Noah Foster.
Going back to where it all began, the jewel of the desert, the home as we know it, the city of sin, where you can strike it rich, hit it big, or bust. This and so much more happened and will be discussed as we bring you our simple take of AEW. Double or nothing this fine Saturday evening, too. So, hello, everybody, whoever watches this on live or on demand. You know what this is, for I am the simple man of the simple brand, the voice, the JMN, and my name is Noah Foster. With me, of course, is my color cohort and analyst in all things WWE and NXT. He is the renegade of wrestling. He is the CEO of Castle 18 Studios. He is, of course, my great friend, one of the dads not always on wrestling, JJ Williams, and the host of the Saturday Night Shenanigans that will ensue soon enough, too. JJ, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. It feels weird for you to give me that hype and build up. You're color man for everything WWE and NXT, and we're here to talk AEW today.
Right.
You don't have your typical AEW cohort here, so this is definitely going to be a little bit different, a little bit interesting because I'm not usually the guy on AEW stuff.
Yeah. But
so I'm going to have a completely different perspective. As I said when we were doing the whole lead into Double or Nothing, this is the first pay-per-view I've truly been invested in. So I feel like I have a different take and perspective on things than most of the people that have been speaking about Double or Nothing the past week.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I created the simple take, to get a different side, a different analysis, a different take, if you will, besides mine. And whether it's someone's strength, weakness, or first time, that's the whole reason that I created this platform. And you're right. Usually I have James Hebert of FTW Productions along with me here. But hey, Jeff Meacham joined Simple Take last night. Shout out to Report Card Radio in the chat, Mikey T. And for those that don't know, he still is, until I update the leaderboard, the coup. No DQ. Predictions League champion. He'll tell you that every time over.
And I'm cool with him coming on if you are, dude.
What the heck? Stay tuned, Mikey. I got you in a few. And again, it's one of those things where also this was your first actual full-length in-tune immersion inside AEW pay-per-view. Well, I've been with it since day zero with All In, before AEW even was a thing. And you very well might be, but again, I'll have the leaderboard updates tomorrow for those that are wondering. Again, Prize for Passions. It's been a hot, busy week, and working in IT, my mentality already goes for enough as it is. But for those that are wondering scores for WWE, NXT, Impact, and AEW, your outcomes for your predictions and the overall leaderboards too, they will be out on my Twitter and also other respective pages like my user community tab and Team All Elite and Team Impact on Facebook. They will be out tomorrow afternoon, I promise. So stay tuned, Mike. I'll give you the link here in a moment. But yeah, JJ, like I said, this was your first ever pay-per-view, and what an interesting one you chose. You picked the show that really is kind of like the anniversary, like Impact got Slammiversary, like WWE has WrestleMania. This is where it all began for this brand, AEW, back May 25th, 2019, and what culminated with the paradigm shift of Jon Moxley's arrival, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, the main event, of course, the battle of generation between the Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, and Dustin Rhodes. So I am looking very forward to getting your takes. I've already discussed this also 2 or 3 times over. And compared to my standards of AEW pay-per-views, this was bizarre, but it wasn't necessarily a bad thing either, too. So while I get Mikey T in here, let me just go ahead and say real quick, thank you to those that are tuning in, whether live or on demand. Please subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. We do these things all the time, primarily for WWE Premium Live events, not NXT. We might bring that something, though, for members only. Stay tuned. We are discussing further content. But also, we do this for the AEW pay-per-views, too. And that being said, without further ado, as I just said, Mikey T the link, and we'll see if the movie star joins us shortly here. JJ, let's get right into it. So this show kicked off, of course, its usual buy-in, but the buy-ins changed over time with the inclusion of Renee Paquette as part of the broadcasting side of things. Like her and RJ City, Stokely Halfway, Paul White, and God, Paul isn't going to screw up the name, Kassamine, was basically part of the pre-introduction activities, we did get our first dose of in-ring action with a trios match defining Ethan Page's freedom and his contract. It was Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, and Ufasi Akazu, who was injured, unfortunately. They sent Hook instead, and they took on the Guns and Ethan Page. This match was a subtle way to bring everybody in, to hype them up for what could be ahead and the level of action you could get. But the biggest takeaway for me, it was also Jeff Hardy's in-ring return technically since battling whatever demons or other things ailed him physically, mentally, and emotionally. But at this point, JJ, maybe it's time for one of the Hardys to hang it up, despite the fact Matt and Jeff want one last run for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. It was a solid back and forth here. Ethan Page and Matt Hardy had a bit of jaw jacking. Cook was definitely the difference maker here. At one point, Ethan Page, he got twisted faded by both Hardys, trapped in the red rum. Why the Guns, they did try to bring as much as they could in their limited arsenal, limited more than a Fortnite game. It just wasn't enough. So now Ethan Page works under, I guess, not big money Matt, but in general, Matt Hardy. So Ethan Page guidance under Matt Hardy. I'm not sure what I think about that, considering Ethan Page's resume. I mean, this is one of the former longest reigning tag team champions in Impact Wrestling history. But maybe now this means that the firm is finally gone, or should I say,
Deleted.
Yes, deleted. So, what was your thoughts on this opening trios match?
Well, the first thing that caught me off guard was the fact that the Hardy Boys, and specifically Jeff Hardy, was on a pre-show match. And I don't remember the last time that they were on a pre-show match. You know, for real, I think it was back in like the early 2000, maybe 2001 Sunday Night Heat era.
Right.
So that kind of caught me off guard, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought about the fact that, you know, like you said, it was Jeff's first match back after conquering the demons. Is he going to be reliable? Is he going to get jacked up in a place like Las Vegas and let the vices get the better of him? You know, are they going to have to substitute somebody last minute, and whoever they substitute isn't going to be the caliber of a Jeff Hardy? And, you know, so I do understand what people are saying about Jeff's in-ring performance in the match, but it also could have just been ring rust. It could have been some butterflies first match back in a big show. You know, I think we need to give old Jeff the benefit of the doubt and give, you know, a couple more matches if he's still performing that way, you know, after another 2 or 3 matches. Yeah, maybe it's time for the charismatic Enigma to wash off the paint one last time and hang up the old boots. But if he can get his rhythm back, if he can find his footing again, if he can get back to the Hardy of old, and I'm not even expecting him to be the insane daredevil that he was in those TLC matches in 01 and 02. You know, you got to figure he's done 20 years of body damage, not to mention his vices and everything taking a toll on him. I'm not expecting him to be at that level anymore. But if a guy who you love and admire and worship like Jeff Jarrett can still do it at his age, you know, and somebody that much younger than him like Jeff Hardy, granted, again, he's done a lot more daredevilish type of stuff in his career. But if he can't perform at the level that somebody like Jeff Jarrett can, like Steen can still, when he gets in there, granted, Steen's not in there every week. He's not even in there at every quarterly pay-per-view. No. He maybe has 2 matches a year. And they're usually in like 6-man tags.
Yes.
So that he's not the sole focus of the match. But if Steen can still go and Jeff Hardy can't, then yeah, maybe it's time for old Jeff Hardy.
I mean, again, he's been through a whole damn lot. Former World Heavyweight Champion. Speaking of champions, I gave him the intro earlier, so I'm not going to sound redundant. I gave him the intro earlier, but I'm not going to sound redundant. He is the movie star. He is outspoken. He is definitely a guy with quite a personality. He is definitely, all right, fine, one more time. Still a no DQ predictions champion of sorts. Now, whether it's WAW or something else in between, please welcome to Sybil Tape for the first time, open mic night regular, Mikey T. Mikey, good to see you, my friend. How are you as we go into Double or Nothing? Shout out, by the way, to BC Bar Room. And one day, maybe we will all go to Bourbon Street. So we'll see what happens. So first up, Mikey T, welcome to us. Simple Take. We're talking about maybe Jeff Hardy and his state currently after what we saw during the buy-in. Daniel, I'm bringing up this spot. Maybe this could go towards your takeaway for this. Just curious if a final run for Tag Team Gold will be good or bad for the Hardys in AEW. If Jeff Hardy goes back to his old ways, it's one of those things where we've seen it, unfortunately, people can have a relapse, but it's one of those things where you only can have really 1 second chance. I think personally this is Jeff Hardy's second chance, considering this is his second return to AEW now. I think it's through a break for him. So good to see you. What's your thoughts on that trios match, particularly maybe Jeff Hardy, and what do you see maybe as far as Jeff Hardy's future goes?
Well, breaking news to everybody watching.
Here we go.
I am now the official No DQ AEW Prediction League's champion. Damn it. It's not a co-champion. I'm not a co-champion. And I'm actually asking Noah to draw up the number of days that I've been the No DQ, the No DQ Prediction Leagues champion for the WWE side of things, so I can then take on the longest reigning No DQ WWE Co-Prediction Leagues champion. So I will be taking that crown as soon as Noah gets me that data. But as far as
Mikey T over here wanting us to acknowledge him, Roman Reigns style.
Clearly,
I am running things for the open mic night with No DQ. The open mic night has a massive presence in the No DQ Prediction League.
That's fair enough. Okay, well, I'll work on that data. So, but yeah, back to Jeff Hardy. At least what Jeff Hardy as world champion again? Well, I mean, he did in Impact, he did in WWE. But honestly, if Jeff does go for something else at this point, maybe one last tag run is the best way to close out his career. Again, Mikey, do you think that's possible for the Hardys to do one last run with Tag Gold, or even Jeff Hardy potentially even going after the World Championship?
Maybe they can get there by Full Gear if the Bucks end up taking the tag belts back in September, August, when they do the all in, all out shows. If the Bucks end up taking the titles, then they can do a blow off either at Full Gear or Revolution next year with the Hardy Boys, where they end up getting the titles. If you noticed the way Tony Khan punishes people, like he's had the Elite lose now several times. You know, when they first came back, they lost against the BCC, but he had Hook actually get the decisive win in this match. That's something that I noticed. He gave Hook the push in this rather than the Hardys, because Hook has been mining his manners and really, moving up in the ladder. Yeah, Jeff Hardy looked really rough out there. You know what I mean? The Hardys were looking kind of rough out there. So hopefully, I think honestly it's just ring rust with Jeff. I don't think he was really hitting if you watch the show called All Access, the Bucks, they didn't really hit the ring for that whole 3-month period that they were actually out, whether it was 3 months or 2 months that they were out. They weren't even doing any bumps. So when they first got back, about to come back to the ring, they first started taking bumps. So maybe, and Jeff's considerably older than them. So I'm thinking it's just a little bit of ring rust. He'll be back to normal. I wasn't really sure if when he went up for the Whisper in the Wind, if that was a botch or if that was a factor in the match, like with him just, trying to play up that he had a little bit of ring rust. I kind of feel like I saw him push out off against the ropes rather than that being a botch at that point, just to give the heel team a little bit of heat and a little bit of a chance to get an upper hand. I wasn't really happy with this match, though. I'll be real with you. This is a real mismatch for me with the Hardy Boys, especially teaming with Hook. And then they continue to make Ethan Page look like a joke. And I was really hoping that the Bucks, or excuse me, the Guns, were going to keep Many Men as their theme, but they ended up not.
Two white boys coming out with 50 Cent, and they aren't even bulletproof. What the hell? I still can't believe that happened. But yeah, I think that's fair. I almost do wonder that maybe the heel side inadvertently bumped the ropes to cause Jeff Hardy lose his balance to maybe put things in their favor. Because following what some people, like you alluded to, in perspective looked like a botch, it was mostly the heels in control during that portion until Matt Hardy got the hot tag, and then things were over once Hook came in and Red Rum even Page back to the Bronx. So again, now I just wonder though, what's the direction for Ethan Page particularly? I mean, the Guns are the Guns, right? They're part of the tag division. They're going to eventually go after the tag team championships, I imagine. Generational talent, the sons of one Mr. Ass. But I more so wonder about Ethan Page because ever since he's come into AEW, he really hasn't found a spot for himself in this company yet. And he came in literally at AEW Revolution 2021 during the Face of Revolution ladder match. So again, it just feels like Ethan Page is in a weird spot. That's just my think about this.
The only time I really kind of got into Ethan Page was when he was part of that stable with Dan Lambert and Scorpio Sky.
The Men of the Year.
I thought that was some great stuff for him. You know, granted, I was focused because of my connection to Scorpio Sky.
SCU.
But even going back before that, you know, AXP, the Aerial Express on the Indies, him and Quicksilver, you know, when he still was wearing a luchador mask, covering up that gorgeous face of his. But, you know, Ethan Page, I just feel like has been looking for something ever since that fell apart.
Yeah.
That was a great run for him. That was a good stable. He was getting prime time television. He was getting the push. You know, him and Sky were getting some great matches. Lambert was a great heel manager. And then it fell apart.
Right.
Scorpio Sky was gold, man. I really feel like he was the next coming of The Rock. Maybe he was a little old, but I was really starting to feel like his gimmick was coming together, but they just pushed Ricky Starks to the moon, you know, and Scorpio Sky kind of got left in the background, but Scorpio Sky had it all.
Well, Sky really did get injured there, but if you notice when they've been showing the promos for Collision, his footage has been in there, so maybe he's set to make a grand return once Collision launches.
It's going to be interesting to see, again, what Collision sets as a precipice for themselves in presentation and storytelling with the talent we know to some degree is going to be involved, including but not limited to Andrade El Idolo, Samoa Joe, Thunder Rosa, and one CM Punk. But we'll talk more about that later.
I feel like Collision's going to become the Forgot About Dre show. Like all the people in AEW that you just completely forgot about, Thunder Rosa. No one's really been talking about her ever since her injury, really.
Yeah, that's true.
Scorpio Sky, Punk, Andrade. You know, it's very much got the potential for being that forgotten talent of AEW show, and now we're going to show you what the hell we can do.
Do you think that also could constitute for maybe some of the men that try to take the international championship from freshly screened George Cassidy and this Blackjack Battle Royal, which for what I thought it was going to be Casino Battle Royal rules, like, you know, people each coming out as a suit. No, they had everybody come out literally going into the pay-per-view. And this is unusual for me when it comes to AEW because usually the AEW pay-per-views do not have a battle royal of any sort kick off. They usually have like a ladder match. They have like a singles exhibition. They usually have like these battle royals in any type of formation in the middle of the show. But no, this was the kickoff. And truth be told, you look at this picture, some of these people Orange Cassidy already defended the title against. A few of these have not even had a single chance. particularly one that nearly took it all at the very end and was made people's secondary pick, if not their primary, the leader of the Mongol Embassy, Shane Swerve Strickland. The biggest takeaways for me, Ricky Starks is still feuding with Switchblade Jay White and Bullet Club Gold, so there might be some faction warfare to come there. Maybe Ricky Starks joins some and develops something. You have, of course, the Lucha brothers, Bandito and Commander, giving you the ultimate form of a Lucha party, literally keeping Bandito in the center of them, while vertically suspending somebody for 40 seconds. That Bandito is way too damn strong. And you truly do see Orange Cassidy get by with a little help from his best friends. Both Chuck Taylor and Tripperella took bullets that literally saved Orange Cassidy's hide during this whole thing. It wasn't until towards the end, though, when we got more of that subtle teasing confrontation with one Keith Lee and Swerve. They are on a collision course for one match. Cannot wait for it. But at the end of the day, Keith Lee, he still was eliminated by Brian Cage. Maybe that's another singles match to come. But when it came down to just two men, and it was still by the top rope, it wasn't pinfall or submission. Under those circumstances, I think it literally could have been time for a new champion. But it wasn't meant to be, but it was still so damn close and very entertaining. Both men on the apron. Swerve goes for that freaking Swerve stomp. Misses. Orange Cassidy catches him on the rib with the orange punch. He's still holding on. And a callback to Orange Cassidy's indie days, because all he was holding on with was one hand, the lazy kick, and Gravity became Orange Cassidy's tag team partner as Swerve lost his balance. And Orange Cassidy once again found another way to win for the 23rd time. He has now been the international champion for 23 successful defenses within less than a year. This title under Orange Cassidy, whatever we want to perceive his character or not, has literally been a workhorse, a wrestling championship, because he's taken on all comers and he's found multiple ways to overcome them, whether technical, whether physical, whether smart, whether it's the orange punch, the beach break, whether it's the mousetrap, whether it's a trap pin, he always seems to find a way to win. And I must say it's absolutely brilliant. But for me, this was kind of weird as the opener, and I still do believe that they should have booked Swerve versus Keith Lee to further push the idea of Swerve versus Orange Cassidy. But based on how long the last two were, I guess maybe they were justified in their booking from that scenario. Mikey T, let's start with you on this. First off, what's your thoughts on the whole idea of Orange Cassidy and this title? We were talking about Ethan Page earlier. I don't think Ethan Page even had a chance for this title. It is the international championship. He's from Canada. And do you think that maybe Swerve is the guy that could take it off him as soon as this Wednesday night?
Well, it's a very odd championship title name. You know, I mean, I guess All Atlantic wasn't really doing it for Tony Khan.
How would you have people flying from Japan?
Yeah, that's very true as well. Is it really 23 title defenses of the international title, or is that included with the All Atlantic as well?
They continue the legacy, basically. So, yes, since Orange Cassidy got this off Pac in Canada last year, he has had 22 single successful defenses for people in and out of AEW, including Katsuyori Shibata, Kyle Fletcher, big insert name here. And then this Battle Royal was his 23rd successful one, technically, with Swerve being the last guy in the end he had to overcome.
Yeah, so I think it'll be good to get the title on Swerve and then use it to help the feud with Keith Lee. They might not do that, though, because they're running so hard with Orange Cassidy right now. But I think that would be good for Swerve and Keith Lee to have actually something to fight over. But that's what I was thinking with my prediction. It would have helped with Ricky Starks, giving him and Jay White something to fight over. But it looks like Tony Khan is going to position Jay White and Juice to feud with FTR. And it looks like, much like when Tony Khan didn't pull the trigger on the Acclaimed, he's kind of realizing that it would have been the perfect time to pull the trigger on Swerve in this match. That's why he's going to do it 2 weeks later. I do respect that he had that triple threat match that pertained to the last people involved in the Battle Royal with Trent and Bill Morrissey. But let me see. This whole Battle Royal to open the show was horrible. The fact that everybody wasn't even in the ring and everybody was fighting, and then you had Swerve standing on the entrance ramp. All of that was a major cluster. I really did not like that for it being the first thing on the show. I didn't like that for it being a Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? It reminded me, it was giving me some TNA vibes, you know? I got to jump.
At least it wasn't the reverse battle royal, but I do understand what you're saying.
And it was like the main event was giving me some real WCW vibes. But I mean, Tony Khan is using, you know what I mean? He's using all of this, stuff that he's seen in the past to help him book his shows. I appreciate you guys letting me come on. I got to go out. I got my bro in town, me and my girl. We're about to go to dinner for my birthday dinner for next weekend and all that, but he's in town this week, so we're about to go do that. But I appreciate you letting me tap in. You know what I mean? You guys are my dudes.
Hey, we always appreciate it, Mikey T. Have a wonderful evening. Follow the movie star, folks. He always has something to say. He's always getting the word and the scoop from the moguls of the music industry. Appreciate you, Mikey. Don't be a stranger.
Hey, Jay, I'll talk to you later, bro. See you on open mic night, guys.
Take it easy, man.
See you then. Ladies and gentlemen, the movie star has left the building. Well, JJ, that was an interesting take on the Battle Royal. Again, technically it kind of was a Royal Rumble, but to go off that, how many times have we seen people hide underneath the ring, just subtly go on commentary, just subtly grasp the rope in the corner? I roll, dog. So, I mean...
Yeah, I was going to say...
Don't surprise me.
I was going to say, man, if he had hung around here a little bit, I was going to be like, bro, let me talk to you, bro. Bro.
It's Russo,
bro. Swerve is a heel, bro.
Yeah.
You can't get much more heel, bro, than standing on the ring ramp, watching the action go down, bro. Picking your spot, bro. For real, bro.
Work, by the way, bro. Brian Cage, bro.
I mean, I see both sides of this coin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, for those of you that missed our simple take yesterday, ever since getting back into things, I've tried to look at things from a business standpoint. So I really try to take a step back and I look at both sides of things. And I can see why some people feel that this match was horrible and such a cluster.
Right.
Battle Royals are supposed to be clusters.
Right.
That's the entire point of it.
Give somebody a payday.
If you can't come out of a Battle Royal by either strengthening or beginning 3 stories, then you booked a bad Battle Royal. And I feel like they did that here. I feel like you've still got the Ricky Stark story, you've got the Swerve story, and you've got the Orange Cassidy story.
Yep.
All 3 of those stories got made stronger with this match. Everybody else was just kind of filler. And regardless of which one of them ends up taking the strap from Orange Cassidy, now's not the time. Orange Cassidy is one of the greatest talents that AEW has. You look at him and you're like, dude, what the hell are you doing? You got your hands in your pockets. You're barely kicking him. Are you even taking this seriously? And then you watch him start to go. And you see what he can do with his hands in his pockets. And it's like, okay, there's something special here. There's something special about this kid. And I call him a kid because he's younger than me, but I mean, he's a vet in the business. He's been doing this for years.
It's crazy.
You mentioned this was his 23rd defense. How long has he been champion?
He literally has been champion now for less than a year after Pac was the inaugural champion last year at, of all places, the Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door literally just marks a little bit under a year for him because it was shortly after that Orange Cassidy got it during their Canadian tour, I believe, back last year in August.
Okay. So think about this for a second. Orange Cassidy has had this belt for less than a year and has 23 successful defenses.
Yep, that's September. It's going to be botched. Yep.
How long has Roman Reigns been champion? 1,000 days?
Yes.
1,007 as of today.
Yes.
Only 28 defenses.
Yes.
Orange Cassidy is 6 defenses away from passing Roman Reigns, and he's had the belt a fraction of the time.
Yep.
Can we take just a moment to acknowledge the greatness that is Orange Cassidy?
Got to get the people what they want.
For real. And that's why I'm saying it's not time for him to lose it yet. I would love to see him have 6 more defenses and then use this shit on TV. We all know Tony's not opposed to referencing WWE.
No.
I've had more defenses than the world champion of the other federation, and I've had the belt less time than him. Shots fired.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Shots fired.
Here's the thing, though. Shout out to Jeff. You could tell during the post-preview scrum, Orange Cassidy is like, he was even asked, do you consider yourself one of the greatest wrestlers of all time? He just said, nope, not even close. And as far as going after the world championship, he's like, I guess my backpack could, I guess there's room for another gold or there. It's one of those
it was the most I've ever heard Orange Cassidy talk.
Right.
It seems so out of gimmick for me. But that was part of what I enjoyed about the post-show scrum, which I did watch in its entirety.
Same.
I feel like I needed to be boozed up to watch Bryan Danielson's part, though.
Bryan Danielson has 0 fucks. He's just having the time of his life, I swear. He's a better PR guy than Tony Khan is on his freaking scrums himself. Seriously, just have Bryan Danielson speak for you, Tony Khan, I swear.
But
and this dude's reading business books.
But I don't think this match was as bad as people are making it out to be. Again, Battle Royals are supposed to be the everybody gets a payday clusterfuck match.
Exactly. Maybe, you have maybe like a surprise moment. There was no wild card here. And like you said, it continued some narratives. For me, the biggest thing was this was the opener. Because usually an opener for me on an AEW pay-per-view, because I've watched and bought them all, it's a grudge match. It's a ladder match. It's even been a steel cage match. They freaking opened up Full Gear last year, as you know, with the freaking Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Luchasaurus steel cage match. This was the first time in pay-per-view history they opened up literally with a Battle Royal. So, again, it had all the manners you would expect from a Royal Rumble. And also, this Battle Royal was not necessarily the typical AEW casino one where they have them come out based on suits of cards. Everybody came out at once. For me, it was just a matter of where it was booked. It wasn't really so much about the booking. It was about on par with all the other Battle Royals we've seen. Keep in mind, folks, we just recently saw a Triste Mayo Battle Royal on freaking AEW Dynamite at the beginning of May. Just saying, Battle Royals are kind of a stipulation at this point, like tournaments are in AEW. Mm-hmm. So this didn't really necessarily bother me at all. What also didn't bother me, by the way, I like Jeff's hat, but also I think the hat Tony Khan wore was pretty snazzy too. See? Because how could I forget this? Also, during the buy-in, we had the opening ceremony for, of course, the Owen. And this time, the Owen will begin at Forbidden Door, which means we should have our brackets there too, and will take place throughout the summer for Canada, and will culminate in Owen Hart's hometown of Calgary. So again, we will see who is involved in the Owen, who will rise to the occasion and claim that beautiful strap and the commemorative trophy. It looks like this time it'll be an individual trophy for each participant. Will Adam Cole and DMD defend this right to be up there with Owen Hart? Or was it more so just a one-time thing and that it's going to be like a brand new opportunity for so many others? JJ, we don't know much about the Owen. We saw as executed last year. I know my friends in ATW have expectations for they want to see, like, rising talent get a chance, not necessarily just all vets and big names. Maybe you could have like a little bit of this and that, where maybe the vet puts over the younger talent in either the men or the women's brackets. But what are your expectations this year from the Owen versus what they did last year? And maybe do you have any names you hope to see involved in it this year that you come to know in AEW that could have used this maybe as a huge opportunity for them to launch them?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. My predictions for the Owen completely got shattered prior to the Four Pillars match. Because based off of the fact that Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Adam Cole, baby, boom, took it last year, I was all but ready to walk into a Vegas bookie and put money on Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti. But since she's pregnant, that's not going to happen.
That's probably a wise move, just saying.
I could still see Sammy taking it, as much as it pains me to say, because everyone knows how I feel about Sammy and Ty. After the announcement, it's kind of hard to hate against them. I could kind of see Punk making some moves. I definitely see Punk in the finals. Whether he puts over a younger talent or wins, because you think of his work ethic, he always had an Owen-esque work ethic to him. I could see Punk going on to the finals, though. And could you imagine if somebody like Sammy defeated Punk in the finals?
Oh,
What that would do for him? I look at a guy like Wheeler Yuta, and I could see him winning the Owen.
Talk about Ethan Page. He is literally from Canada. I feel like Ethan Page could be a very interesting choice to be involved in the Owen here.
Possibly a long shot, but sometimes the long shots are the ones you want to watch out for.
Yeah.
What about Jungle Boy Jack Perry?
At this point, Jungle Boy Jack Perry has been going through emotional turmoil, more so with himself than anybody else. And the Owen might be literally that proverbial chip that he needs to really prove something, maybe to himself, and also grow as an individual. Maybe take some heat from the audience and ride with it. Let's not forget what Owen did when he became, of course, King of the Ring and held that Slammy, by the way, as you subtly allude to all the time. So, I mean, yeah.
As far as the women's side of thing,
Sky Blue. I want to see Sky Blue.
I'm thinking maybe Willow Nightingale would be a hot take. You know, after just getting that title in New Japan, maybe Tony put a little bit of push behind her in the company.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Absolutely. I mean, we just saw her with her sexual first defense of the title against Emi Sakura. Very good match last night.
What about La Guerrera Loca?
Taya Valkyrie. Oh, yes. And you know Taya, we're going to talk about her shortly. You know Taya's going to be out for something.
And speaking about talking about Taya shortly, what about the woman who defeated Taya? You know, she's supposed to be taking a little bit of time off here right now, but that doesn't mean that she can't return by Forbidden Door. What about Jade? You know, I think it would be great for her to throw her into that tournament environment again to really kind of prove that she can hang with some of these other people, build herself up, whether she ends up going back after the TBS title or whether she tries to use winning the Owen as a springboard to go after the AEW women's title.
Right.
And again, we're getting ahead of ourselves because I know we'll get to that match, but you brought up the Owen, so, you know.
Well, you know, like, call it a domino effect, call it maybe chaos theory. I mean, you literally could say the same thing about this next match we're going to discuss that people also have thoughts about. That was this match unnecessary or even necessary considering what the fallout was Wednesday, which really felt like the exclamation point to this feud. But either way, it is what it is. As we had Adam Cole, baby, since we talked about him, go one-on-one with the Ocho Chris Jericho in an unsanctioned match. But again, in the early going, everything just went off, all right? You had the Jericho Society in full tow. You had Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, Jake Hager, Daniel Garcia, and then you had Sabu and Roderick Strong. Chairs were flying everywhere. Sabu, damn it, Aaron. Sabu did a freaking spot. Dadgummit. And next thing you know, everybody was long gone, but I swear I thought Sabu was a little bit hobbling, and then this turned into a one-on-one affair of attrition at this point because it kind of was slow for a little bit of it. Panama Sunrise was countered. Cole was suplexed from the ring apron down to the arena floor. And then the thing that also got me here, this is Adam Cole's third match, I think, since coming back from his concussions and whatever. And, of course, you saw the way that his neck and head whiplashed on the floor. A lot of back and forth counter moves. Jericho goes for the Lion Saw, counter with super kick. We get the Lion Tamer in, but Adam Cole, that was the most awkward grab, by the way, I've ever seen for a fire extinguisher. I don't know about you of how many times we've seen that grab for. Eventually, he sprayed him in the eyes. Then Chris Jericho looked to extinguish Adam Cole after he gets the advantage. Next thing you know, we get a callback to the kendo stick spot. But this time, Britt Baker once again made Jericho her bitch and came out wailing. Man, do not piss off that freaking Dennis. Came out wailing with that freaking kendo stick. And then Saraya tried to come into play because there's no love lost for those two, with continuing other war with Outcast Originals. Then Saraya, she was being whipped like a government mule backstage, running like a scolded dog, while the doctor was in full pursuit. Next thing you know, Adam Cole continued working over Chris Jericho. Fans were in favor of Adam Cole, and then Jericho whips a chair in his face, Sabu-esque, and Adam Cole falls off through that table. I think more so head and neck first. Ouch. And this was the point where I was like, okay, so unsanctioned, right? There's no liability. You can't hold AEW for anything here. The ref can't stop the match, and the ref didn't. By the way, our official for this bout was, of course, Aubrey Edwards, as usual, in the Chris Jericho match, for those that follow AEW as long as I have. And then Jericho pulls out a chain with handcuffs on each end, further adding insult to injury, was looking to trap him. Instead, call back to Breaking Point 2009, I think. Next thing you know, Adam Cole gets buried Jericho. Both men are handcuffed, and that long chain came into play on Adam Cole's favor. Not only was he whirling away Chris Jericho with it, he connected him not with one boom, but a chain-loaded boom. And while he had the chain in one hand, he used his other hand in the mount grounded proposition on an unconscious Jericho. And at this point, there's being no response. The referee stops the match. And Adam Cole wins, but unsanctioned. I'm confused. What are the rules?
See, the right person won.
Yes.
But that meddling Aubrey Edwards called for the bell, stopped the match in an unsanctioned match. This made me think of Sabu, ironically, versus Rey Mysterio at the second One Night Stand when they stopped an Extreme Rules match. It is unsanctioned. You let them beat the piss out of each other. See, Aubrey's problem is she's got too much of a moral high ground, a moral standard. She sees somebody getting beaten down like that. She's like, no, I can't take it anymore.
Well,
Doesn't matter if they can't take it anymore. Jericho didn't say to stop the match.
But Jericho couldn't say anything. I mean, also, again, double-edged sword. What's the referee's job? Protect the athletes. I understand it's unsanctioned as well, but I felt they put
The
themselves in the
referee's
corner here.
job
Jericho
is
was
to record.
unconscious.
The referee's job is to record the pinfall or submission.
Yeah, that too. Clearly.
So let Adam Cole pin Jericho.
I don't know if Adam Cole wanted to. Because, fast forward, what happened on freaking Wednesday night this past week on Dynamite? For the second time in mixed tag team action, Adam Cole and Britt Baker got done, and Adam Cole pinned Jericho again. But this time, he actually pinned Jericho this time. That, for me, with Dr. Britta DMD not even being booked for Double or Nothing, put that in perspective when last year she was booked in the finals and won the Owen. This should have been the match on the pay-per-view. The unsanctioned stipulation, for me, was absolutely unnecessary with that stoppage. I'm just saying. Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in my Black and Gold NXT. My NXT! Damn it. But I digress.
I did.
I don't market myself. Literally, that one point when Kyle O'Reilly planted Adam Cole on the damn chair with the chained knee dropped to the back of the head, he still pinned the damn man, and there was a definitive decision despite both men leaving on a stretcher.
Exactly.
What the hell was this?
That's my thing. It was a great match. It was a good story told. There was great action. Britt getting involved had added to the suspense and the drama.
Right.
It was a horrible finish.
Right.
It was an unsanctioned match. Either have Cole put Jericho in a submission, do the raise of the arm for 3 times, he's out, call for the bell. Tell Cole to pin him as a referee. You've got that authority. The competitors have to listen to the authority of the referee.
And they also got him.
You know, if Aubrey had told him he's out, pin him. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're done. But for her to just call for the bell when there's no decisive anything like that, I didn't like that.
And let's be honest here, JJ, when it comes to wrestling, people remember one thing in particular, that is the ending. So this is definitely going to have a dark note here. With everything Chris Jericho's done, though, in his illustrious 32-year career at 52 years of age, let's see here. Daniel talking about Impact. Well, he has not been involved in that company in any capacity. And with Christian Cage and Christian Cage, former vet, excuse me. When Kenny Omega did get involved in Impact Wrestling, it did draw more eyes, especially when I went there live to catch him versus Sami Callihan at Slammiversary 2021. But Chris Jericho becoming the Impact World Champion, might as well call him completing the Grand Slam of the wrestling industry, except for the IWGP Championship. What's your thoughts with the perspective of, again, they're also based out of Canada, eh? Could you maybe see, or would you want to see Jericho get involved in some capacity in Impact Wrestling, JJ?
I could see it happening for like a 1 or 2 year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make him the Nueve and get him the Impact Championship too. But I'd rather see him come back home to the WWE once his AEW contract is up.
He should be in the WWE Hall of Fame when he's done.
Exactly. One more, come back, do maybe like a legacy 1 year run. You know, something like from Royal Rumble surprise entry through Mania the following year.
Right.
So technically 2 Rumbles, 2 Manias, and then go in the Hall of Fame. That's personally what I'd like to see for Jericho, because I mean, we see the way the crowd reacts with Cody Rhodes having brought Kingdom over. Can you imagine 70,000 people at insert stadium here for WrestleMania singing Judas?
That'd be crazy.
You're gonna get a taste of it at All In.
A taste? I'm gonna get a taste?
But it's not going to be the full smorgasbord.
The sports entertainment. Fair enough. I get what you're saying, and it is one of those things where at the end of the day, Jericho even said inside the ropes, the thing about AEW, again, they don't have writers. It's literally like Tony Khan, he books it, but you come to him with your ideas, and he sees how they can fit into what maybe they're trying to do in AEW. And injuries do happen, so you got to call an audible. Go check out the Inside the Ropes interview, folks, that Jericho did regarding this when it comes to the approach and creativity and the flexibility in AEW versus WWE. So it's one of those things where I definitely wouldn't rule it out. But yes, he's pretty much touched every other company. I just think him just showing up in Impact Wrestling one time would be interesting, considering, again, they're based out of Canada, so he could definitely perform some sort of program there at some point. With Slammiversary in Canada, I just wonder, that'd be interesting, but then also, who would you put him up against? It's a whole nother story. So, I wouldn't rule it out, Daniel, but the odds of it happening versus maybe a WWE Legacy return like Jade is referring to, the WWE one might be more realistic, depending on if Jericho and them can reach a mutual agreement.
Here's what I'd like to see if he does a match in Impact.
Go for it.
The reteaming of Chris Jericho and Christian Cage versus the Motor City Machine Guns.
Take my damn money. By the way, Motor City Machine Guns is Subculture. Great freaking match last night on Impact, or excuse me, Thursday night on Impact Wrestling. That's tag team wrestling. Now.
That's what I'd like to see, damn it.
But you digress. Talking tag team wrestling, I'm going to be as diplomatic here as possible, but I am going to say one. I'm just going to say one thing before I just let you simply talk.
I was going to say, I will be good if you're good.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything about one Jarrett, but I'm going to say this about the other Jarrett. I hope and I pray to God that Aubrey Edwards snatches that witch and turns her into her bitch sooner rather than later. Thank you and good night. Okay, AEW Tag Team Championship match was next, following our special guest referee Mark Briscoe. And no, folks, Dr. Seuss is not writing a book called that, and neither am I, but I digress. And our special guest referee was Mark Briscoe. For a guy who's never been an official before in his life, I must say I was quite impressed with him trying to hold the integrity of a tag team championship match. Every shenanigan that Jay Lethal and crew tried to pull off, Mark Briscoe cut them off at the pass. But being the savvy veteran that Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett are, they did finally found a way to make the match work in their advantage. And it was at that point that they were able to capitalize. And it was simply a low bridge, sending Cash Wheeler to the floor, and then literally whipping him into the barricade while Mark Briscoe was focusing on Dax because Dax was getting hot, as he usually does, under the collar. At some point, though, literally, Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh tried to get involved. Mark Briscoe doing the right thing, make sure it's fair for all. Ejected them. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal were at wit's end because it seems they weren't able to put their game plan into practice. The story of this match before going in was Mark Briscoe, quote unquote, do the right thing in both teams' minds. In the fans' minds, maybe, in commentators' minds, in our minds, maybe. What is the right thing? Depends on what side of the coin you're on. As this match kept going, FTR finally hit the Saturn Machine, Big Rig, on Jay Lethal, but the ref wasn't there to count it after inadvertently a guitar smacked Mark Briscoe over the head. That was not the tune Jeff Jarrett was trying to play here. We have no official. So in comes the most integral official to AEW, Aubrey Edwards, or so she tried to. Again, being emotionless in an emotional environment. Did not put her hands on Sanjay Dutt. Sanjay Dutt tried to play the blockade, like the wizard from Lord of the Rings, you shall not pass. Eventually, they turn around, she gets around him, and as she admonishes them, trying to put them up the ramp, that wretched witch whipped Aubrey Edwards over the head, deserves to be suspended, terminated, packed in a box, sent to Russia in peace. Anyway, and as we have no refs, we have nothing but chaos, we have nothing but anarchy, and the thing, anarchy and the Breeder was supposed to come later. How about this shit? And anyway, as this continued moving forward, Jay Lethal was able to hit lethal injections on both members of FTR, followed by Jeff Jarrett hitting Dax with the towel belt while Mark Briscoe was still incapacitated, and there was no official. Where the fuck was Paul Turner, Michael Posey, Rick Knox, and freaking Bryce Rensburg, and the other damn Mexican referee that I can't figure the name of at this point, but I digress. Anyway, as this match continued, it looked like they were finally going to get it, and I was about to have a heart attack. Mark Briscoe coming to consciousness, does the count. 1, 2, and 9 attempts. Jay Lethal couldn't freaking believe it. And once again, Jay Lethal's own attitude, where he got pissed off. At the end of the day, he should have been pissed about himself more than anybody else. He tirade the official, Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe wasn't going to have none of it. And so he continued what he's going to do, but it's like, I'm the official man, you respect me. The push-off, FTR capitalizes, hitting the Shadow Machine on Jeff Jarrett, and FTR retained, and Mark Briscoe embraced them. All good things worked in the end. Now, fast forward to Rampage. For those that don't know, Aubrey Edwards has been trained, has been mentored, has been guided in her referee career by one of the most physically controversial involved referees in the business. You all might know him as Earl Hebner. Earl Hebner took shit from nobody and at one point did get in the ring in some capacity and got a bit of retribution. Aubrey Edwards needs to get hers, and after what I saw subtly on Rampage, I think it's going to happen, and cannot wait to call it one way or another with a smile on my face. Either way, FTR retained against Jay Lethal and Joe Jarrett. The right team won, in my opinion. Fuck Karen Jarrett. Okay, JJ, your thoughts.
Okay. Number one, Mark Briscoe showed more integrity as a referee than Aubrey Edwards has a day in her fucking life.
Blasphemy!
Number
Blasphemy,
two, how dare
Blasphemy!
you speak ill of the goddess that is the one, the only Karen Jarrett.
I'm not going to swear. I'm going to.
She did nothing but stand by her man, Tammy Wynette style. Aubrey Edwards had no business trying to interject herself into that match. So when she came out there and tried to meddle and tried to poke and prod and interfere and help her boys FTR retained the titles, Karen Jarrett gave her exactly what she deserved. El Kabong to the dome.
She's gonna get what she deserves. Mark my damn words. Anyway, continue. All right, now we got the women's thing out of the way.
I'm not fully upset that FTR retained, because at the end of the day, I do feel like it was too soon for them to re-lose it.
Considering it was their
They
first
just
defense.
recently got it, yeah.
Yeah.
But Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal have been getting royally screwed ever since they became a tandem on television, which pretty much goes back to last year when the big baller of the No DQ universe was there live and in person for the debut of the Chosen One. They have been getting shafted and screwed. This was like, I think you said on commentary, this was their 5th chance at the titles.
Yes,
Every single match has ended in controversy. There has not been a complete, clean victory for their adversaries. Every single time the reigning champions have had some kind of meddling in order for them to keep the belts. Yes, you can argue the counterpoint that Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal try to cheat to win, but correct me if I'm wrong, Noah, they're heels. That just comes in their DNA. For the baby faces to have constant meddling in order for them to retain the titles, that's not very babyface-esque.
It's inadvertent, though. Turnabout's fair play. Come on now.
Not when it's the same referee every time and it's when Aubrey Edwards.
Hey,
that is, as R-Truth would call it, a C-O-N conspiracy.
It's not.
And once Mark Briscoe got laid out, who tried to interject her freaking head into this match? Oh, that's right, Aubrey freaking Edwards.
Well, where were the other refs then? I mean, who else was there?
Hey, that's not on me. If Rick Knox had come out there, I bet you he wouldn't have got El Kabonged.
Yes, he would have, because
no,
they don't
he wouldn't have, because
nobody.
he hasn't screwed Jarrett over the way
they
Aubrey
don't trust nobody. The Jarrett and Lethal connection don't trust nobody. They want to make sure they have every possible event. If they could have, they would have made Sanjay Dutt the special guest referee. I'm surprised Sanjay didn't have a damn striped t-shirt underneath his Dixon tie Congaroga wearing ass, cheap ass JC Penney blazer wearing anti-guru freaking. Sorry.
Daniel, if we have entertained you, then feel free to super chat.
I knew I was going to go there with this fucking match, but I'm so damn glad to see repercussions are on the way for that wretched witch.
You know what? I want to see the two of them in a steel cage at All In.
Oh, God.
Karen Jarrett versus Aubrey Edwards, damn it.
I don't know if well, I mean, hey, she's counted in a steel cage, so why the fuck not? I mean, she's counted in freaking thumbtacks. Just plant Karen's face in thumbtacks.
I mean, if we're going to get a mixed tag match, you know that can only go from there into a singles match. And as heated as this rivalry is,
I can't believe
it's got to be more than just a standard one-on-one singles match. There's got to be something to really make it stand out.
Just I pray.
So Aubrey Edwards versus Karen Jarrett inside of a cage, whether it's All In, All Out, Full Gear, just don't do it on a random Dynamite. That's all I ask.
I'm just gonna put this out here, JJ. We're entering the summer of AEW. You know what that means. What do they do in July with Dynamites? They do Fight for the Fallen and Fighter Fest. You literally might be setting up a Jarrett Aubrey program across those two specials if you're not careful. I say in the world of clarity, because Aubrey Edwards is a referee, not a wrestler. Damn it. Although
Karen Jarrett's a valet, not a wrestler.
Damn it. Physically involved. That's her fault. Why is she even getting physically involved?
Because Aubrey keeps screwing him.
Aubrey,
think about it. Look at it this way, Noah. Take a breath. How many times did Jeff Jarrett get screwed over by Aubrey Edwards before Karen Jarrett even interjected herself in the storyline? She came out to be the counterbalance. It's the same way that Mia Yim was introduced to be taking care of the Rhea Ripley problem. Aubrey Edwards has been a thorn in Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett's side from day one-ish. Karen Jarrett came out to be the equalizer. Aubrey started it. Admit it. Acknowledge it.
Aubrey did not start it. Aubrey's doing her damn job. Karen's the one that's preventing her from doing her damn job. Karen put herself into this, and she had no right in putting her hands on an official. You want to get corporal? Let's get corporal, damn it. Aubrey Edwards should have every right to make sure her dumbass is suspended, terminated, or fined. Somehow, in her grace, Mark Briscoe must have convinced her, no, Aubrey, no. Don't get her suspended. All right? We can whip their asses. So Mark Briscoe is literally instigating Aubrey Edwards. Mark Briscoe right now is putting more friction in this than Aubrey ever did. Mark Briscoe Daniel, no. Mark Briscoe is instigating the idea of him and Aubrey kicking the Jarrett's asses. Why every fan on earth wants to see Karen and Jeff Jarrett get their rightfully just deserved desserts. Aubrey Edwards is a referee. Do not become Earl Hebner. All right? Damn it. And thank you, Daniel, for that super chat.
Yes,
if that gets booked,
you,
I don't care what fucking day it is. I don't care if it's a Dynamite. I will literally ask this man and Jeff, let's freaking call this shit live.
And I'll be 100% down. Again, I don't care if it's Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, pay-per-view, buy-in, whatever.
Yes.
If that is the only match on the show that gets called, me and Noah will call that match.
Yeah, you the first ever match me and JJ call in AEW history.
You know what? Fuck it. Book it for the first ever Collision.
Why not? Fuck it. Let's do it.
We need something. They need something to make that show watchable other than the return of one CM Punk.
All the heat. All the damn heat. There's going to be enough.
Have that be the main event of the debut Collision.
The main event.
Whoa, hold on. We're talking Tony Khan and AEW. So that would have to be the 6 o'clock match. It's got to fall right into the women's match slot there.
Oh, JJ.
Tell me I'm lying, Noah. You can set your watch by it.
Fuck. Why you gotta be right? Oh, that's just wrong. All right. But
again, thank you for the super chat, Daniel. And for the record, for all y'all out there that don't know, this is just me and Noah having fun with each other. Yeah. When it gets right down to it, I fucking can't stand Karen Jarrett either.
Yeah.
Period, point blank. But it's so much fun to get him riled up over this shit. Now, I am a Jeff Jarrett fan. Everything I say about Jeff Jarrett, I do totally believe that shit. But as far as the whole goddess Karen Jarrett thing, I damn near have to run to the bathroom and barf every time I say that because I only do it to instigate him.
You should be washing your mouth out with soap. Oh my god!
And for the record, I love Aubrey too. She's honestly my second favorite referee there, other than Rick Knox, because Rick Knox I've known for years.
There you go.
But it's just so fun to get him riled up. He is so calm, so mild-mannered, so just has this demeanor about him where virtually nothing can get him fired up. But you find something like that just pokes him and sets him off. And man, every now and again, it's fun to wind up the winder in the back and just let him loose.
Yeah.
I love you, Noah.
I love you too. Everybody has a breaking point, and legitimately with me, it is fucking Karen Jarrett. Oh, God.
All right, so where do we go from here now, good sir?
I'm just going to say this real quick. I'm just going to say this real quick to be on the same page with you. I can't believe fucking Jeff Jarrett still goes the way he does in 2023 in AEW. I will say
Jarrett
that much.
Is a specimen,
He really is.
When I first got into wrestling, I could not stand Jeff Jarrett. What changed my mind to Jeff Jarrett was 2 days. Ironically, in his WWF run, it was Roz Owen, and it was the match with Chyna, where he dropped the Intercontinental title.
Gotta say, Chyna, again,
Watching his backstage promo, both at Over the Edge and at Raw as Owen, really opened up a whole other world, pun intended, to Jeff Jarrett. And then the fact that he went out there, did what he needed to do for China. He could have completely pulled a Medusa, showed up on Nitro with the title and just whatever. But he went out there, did what was right for business. Yeah, he may have had some ulterior behind the scenes shenanigans that are documented on his podcast. Go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
But he came out of that meeting with Vince and was like, come on, girl, let's go put you over. Let's make you a star.
God bless China. God rest her soul. Those
two things changed my opinion on Jeff Jarrett.
Well, like I always say, don't judge simply by the character. Look at the actual person, because we're all human at the end of the day. Some of us just choose to be more humane about our will and attitude than others. You know who you are, internet. All right, well, speaking of specimens, I think it's safe to say that Wardlow is a different breed of specimen when it comes to him and the TNT Championship, because Wardlow then defended the gold against the savvy Christian Cage in a ladder match. And as expected, in a ladder match, all hell broke loose. In the early going, like I said, this match really came down to how does Wardlow level Christian Cage at his own game. Turnabout's fair play each time possible, except for that trouble ladder bridge where I'm pretty sure Wardlow hauled like a war dog at a few octaves higher. Ouch. And as the power came into play and literally pressed him and spun him around and planted him on a ladder, both men literally using the ladders to their advantage to inflict physical harm on one another. It was Wardlow that still seemed to come out stronger. And at one point, you thought he was going to go up the ladder. That ladder was kind of warped, but then Christian hit a kill switch on the ladder. All the ladder edits you could think of. And then a callback to, as he said on the road to, one of his heroes, Jeff Hardy, as this match went down further going, and Wardlow was going to get the win. Out comes the right hand, Luchasaurus, and literally took Wardlow off the ladder and chokeslammed him once and not twice on a damn ladder. But then the enforcer, and he still is that, jeez, old Bruce, Arn Anderson came into play. I mean, he literally said in a promo a while ago, sometimes you gotta take a man's eye. Sometimes you gotta bite a man's thumb off. He literally bit the fucking thumb skin off Luchasaurus. That was gross, all right? What the hell? Anyway, Wardlow grabbed Luchasaurus, sent him onto a table, and then big men shouldn't do this, okay? He almost over-executed. You saw the way his body went full on through that second table and the upper head and back. Hit Luchasaurus for the other table. A swanton from Wardlow. That giant man come crashing down. Eat your heart out, Jeff Hardy. And then literally as Christian Cage somehow is finding his way up the ladder slowly on Anderson, just enough. Folks, we know the ladder's made out of wood. Okay, we know this is wrestling. Pulls Christian Cage down via gravity right into the arms of Wardlow. A single powerbomb symphony. Bravo. And Wardlow ascends and claims and still is the TNT champion. And this time it feels like, based on the post discussion, he's not here to show this title with integrity. He will fucking kill anybody. Arn Anderson is bringing out a whole new attitude in Wardlow that I think he's been needing, despite the fact people think Wardlow should not be just stuck inside the TNT title picture. For a ladder match, it was a ladder match. But Arn Anderson biting a man's thumb off in 2023. Not on my bingo card, professional wrestling. JJ, your thoughts?
Well, my biggest takeaway from this is that AEW needs to go somewhere else for their ladders. Because, yes, I've seen WWE ladders get destroyed and break as well. But never in a WWE ladder match have I seen a referee hold the ladder so the competitor could climb it.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Right. What?
Like, and maybe it's just me, but it almost looks like the referee is favoring the person that's trying to climb it when they do that. You know, it shows a hint of personal bias. And I'm sure that's not the intent that the referee or even Tony Khan booking is going for.
Right.
But you've got to look at the long term of things like that. Do you see the referee holding the ladder for both competitors, or usually only just one? Usually only just one. Shows a hint of personal bias.
Right.
So wherever they're getting their ladders from, they need to find out where WWE gets theirs from and get theirs from there. Especially if you're going to have behemoths like Wardlow in ladder matches.
Even with Bruce Briggs, by the way. Good grief.
But other than that, and this isn't the first AEW ladder match I've seen that in, where the referee has had to hold the ladder.
Young Bucks.
Aside from that one thing that I feel kind of takes me out of the moment of a ladder match, I thought it was a great match. I was a little bit surprised that Christian didn't get the victory here, being the ladder match expert.
Right.
You think about him and the Intercontinental title and him getting the TNT title, much like the reason why I thought Jeff Jarrett should have got the tag titles. Having somebody with some experience like that can then work with the younger talents in programs feuding for that belt would really help add a little something to the belt. And the TNT title has been the hot potato title anyway. Right. It would be nice to give the belt to somebody, no disrespect to Wardlow or Darby or any of the other TNT champions, Sky.
Hero, Sammy, Cody, Powerhouse Hobbs, just saying.
But to give somebody with some stank on their name, a little bit of a legendary figure in the business, that TNT title helps elevate it right there. So that's my thing on it. But I've been a Wardlow fan. I enjoy watching Wardlow. I'm curious to see where the Wardlow character is going to go from here now that he's got Arn Anderson with him. But yeah, it should be interesting to watch the further progression of Wardlow. I've really enjoyed his presentation and character, going all the way back to when he was MJF's Diesel, essentially.
Yeah, the biggest suit and the largest Burberry tie I've ever seen. Well, like I said, I almost called Luchasaurus Tonka. Yeah, I remember that TNA call back there, and it almost was like he's like that. And at this point, I just wonder what direction Christian Cage Luchasaurus goes. And when Arn Anderson suddenly talked about, well, Wardlow is a dynasty, is Arn Anderson again starting his own faction, maybe, and mentoring these younger athletes? I'm just saying. And again, for a ladder match, it was what it was, but I definitely agree about that spot. Darren, good to see you. Nathan, good to see you. And I guess for once, I'm glad that the TNT title, it seems it's finally not going to be hot potato for a moment. But let's see how much longer that holds up with this attitude and the willingness of Arn Anderson still willing to go cannibal on Wardlow's opponents.
You figure Forbidden Door is the end of this month. Yeah. If Wardlow is still champion past Forbidden Door, I'll be impressed.
Same. Absolutely. Be curious who'd be defending that title against. All right. Well, speaking of Forbidden Door, we talk about NJPW, talk about AEW, and yes, folks, we will cover that here on Jim Media. I wonder if other companies will be involved. We'll go, I don't know. Impact, AAA, well, they can't do AAA because NJPW has a conflict with AAA on CML. So maybe they get CMLL involved. But also, I think about Stardom, and here we have two former members of the Stardom roster going one-on-one against the AEW Women's World Championship, as Jamie Hayter was defending the gold against Toni Storm, and fuck me, damn it! Okay, look, I usually go with the philosophy, you keep attacking, you show a weakness up to the point, they're going to overcome. But I can understand why they did it. It's also one of those things to keep somebody strong in defeat. I know haters really hated this, including me. Toni Storm comes down first. We're waiting for Jamie Hayter. The music hits like, that's my champion. Let's freaking go. Haterade her in the next week. I'm still waiting for that ringing endorsement for Gatorade Haterade Tony Khan so I can buy it at my store. And then, okay, nothing. Jamie Hayter, still nothing. out come these two rejects, Ruby Soho and Outcast. And they literally keep assaulting the champion. They assaulted her on Rampage. They kept attacking the shoulder since Pittsburgh. Every possible chance they've gotten. They made sure that the hater raid was neutralized. And this was literally the counter opposite versus Full Gear, where Rebel, not Reba, and Britt Baker did help in favor of Jamie Hayter to beat Toni Storm for the AEW Interim Women's World Championship at the time. This time, they put out all the stops, including the exposed turnbuckle, to play in Toni Storm's favor. But to Jamie Hayter's credit, being the champion she is, she fought tooth and nail freaking hard against all of them and still got her arm stomped in. As she finally got in the ring and not only did a backbreaker, but even pulled out that Haterade, I thought she had her screaming in angst, fighting spirit fully being shown here. I thought she was going to go Super Saiyan for a moment. Got the pin, 2 9/10. Next thing you know, spray paint comes into play. We get the freaking Sweet Cheeks music, as my friend King likes to call it, the meanest hip attack in all of wrestling. Fight me if you think otherwise. Sorry, Nikita Lyons, not sorry. And meanwhile, she pins her. Still not enough. Again, Ruby Soho and freaking Saraya still out there playing the numbers game, but not before the Warrior, Karashida, came down and took her own kendo stick to both of them, drove them away. We're down to a one-on-one contest, and as she goes for the Haterade again, misses, clutches her arm. Toni spikes her immediately with the freaking Storm Zero. Toni Storm, once again, now 2-time, and officially AEW Women's World Champion, according to Mia Scrum. She doesn't give a fuck what people think, who comes after her. And that interim thing was so fucking stupid, right, Tony? I love this heelish more than Stardom, zero fucks given attitude of Toni Storm. And I'm just going to simply say this. All In is Jamie Hayter's biggest moment to come. Mark my damn words. JJ, your thoughts on this? It's a complete reset now for the women's division. And it looks like we're finally moving past the interim thing. Interim be dead.
I see Daniel's question in the chat about the rematch being before or after Women's Blood and Guts. Let me ask you something, Noah. How many people usually compete in a Blood and Guts match?
Oh, that's quite easy. That would be 10.
So 5-on-5, like Survivor Series.
Correct.
Like War Games. Okay.
Yes.
So obviously you've got Team Outcast. You've got Ruby, you've got Saraya, you've got Toni.
Yes.
Who would you figure for the other two on their side?
Well, considering the moniker is we are the superstars, bigger than those that started here in AEW based on where we used to work or our past resume. A couple that I have in mind, one of them is in Ring of Honor, and she has been an unstoppable tirade as the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. That would be Athena, and I know she teased about that at the scrum. If the price is there and the time's there, I might give them my services. Athena, she don't consider fucks either. I love it. And as far as the other one goes, we're going to talk about her here shortly, and she tends to be a little bit loca. As far as the originals, though, you have the Warrior, you have the Pillar. If they do Blood and Guts before the rematch, you do have the Killer. And then they've already feuded, and basically at the expense of the likes of Sky Blue, Rico, Willow. There are more options in originals than in Outcast at this point. But I don't think we're still near building that match because neither side right now has a full 5-on-5.
Okay, so you're going to have to forgive me because
Fine.
I don't know the nicknames of the originals you were talking about too much. I know the Pillar is Britt.
Yes.
Who are the other two you're referring to? The
I was
Warrior
referring-
is that
Riho was the first ever AEW Women's World Champion. They've also spray painted her, so I know she probably has no love lost. And I know she's also moving to America permanently, I believe, in the end of the year. Congrats to her. She's a tiny little petite young lady, 98 pounds.
I know who Riho is. Who were you referring to as the Warrior?
Oh, the Warrior, Hikaru Shida.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you got Hayter, you got Britt, you got Shida, you got Riho. And then you just need that fifth.
So again, I think with a Nightingale, or I think to give her a big opportunity because she always shines, and they really do endorse her. Sky Blue, see what she does in her extreme scenario.
I'm thinking of somebody different.
Oh, what do you think?
I'm thinking of somebody who we saw come out of the office a few weeks ago on Dynamite. I'm thinking of a returning Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, that's fair, and that really would show how much the past friction, so known or heard of, between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, how far that was neutralized. Kind of like how Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli, they were working on the same side during Blood and Guts last year. Even though Eddie Kingston didn't necessarily get the moment he was looking for, his side still won. So, yeah,
Mhm.
I can see that actually.
But
Yeah,
going back to the match in general here,
yes,
you know I haven't been sold on Jamie Hayter.
right.
I know it pains your soul that I'm the other kind of hater for Hayter,
Right.
but she did impress me in this match.
She went down swinging.
Hearing that she was
literally.
going in injured to begin with, the fight that she put on, I was greatly impressed by. Yes, I was happy that Toni Storm won. She was my prediction. I feel like she got screwed with the whole interim thing last year because they didn't drop the interim until Jamie Hayter defeated her.
Right.
And then kind of went back and retconned her reign, saying, oh, no. She was an official AEW Women's Champion, even though we called her interim the entire time, including the match where she lost the title.
Right.
So I feel like this was more of a step for Toni, kind of getting that official stamp of I am the official women's champion this time.
Right.
And again, I wonder if we're not going backwards a little bit, because who did Toni defeat for the title? Well, no, she won it in a tournament because
she won
of whose injury.
She won it in a four-way to
Because of
crown
whose
the
injury.
interim, because it was vacated by Thunder Rosa, which I saw live that announcement that still hurt me. And it was Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, and Hikaru Shida.
Which comes back to my point about Blood and Guts. I think it's going to come full circle, and Toni's going to end up losing the belt back to Thunder Rosa, who never lost it in the first place.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that too, as I'm about to bring on our regular color analyst here in all things AEW, at least. Before I bring him on here, I'm just going to say this. We're approaching Forbidden Door. Last year at Forbidden Door, it was Toni Storm going after the AEW Women's World Championship against the defending Thunder Rosa. And while Mercedes Moné would be definitely a hot take, I would not rule that out either, considering her history. And honestly, you want to call her an outcast? I don't know necessarily you can put that with her name, but I guess she did leave the other company. So there's that. And for me, I do think, as this man likes to put it, a women's Blood and Guts is on the line. And folks, please welcome, of course, to the Simple Take, James Hebert of FTW Productions, and my analyst and color commentarist, of course, on all things non-WWE. James, good to see you, man. I know you're tired, but it's good to have you here. We're talking about the AEW Women's World Championship, the state of the division, the whole idea still of Outcast versus Original, Blood and Guts being the end game. How do we get there with the 5-on-5? And now the true reset of the women's division with Toni Storm as a true AEW Women's World Champion. How do you feel about the execution and the match, and the fact Jamie Hayter literally went down swinging?
I'm okay with how they booked it, but I do have a question. Was she injured legitimately or not?
I have not read anything yet to really know for sure, but if nothing else, she was definitely selling.
Okay, because yeah, it seems very weird that they would book this the way they did, because I'd never seen AEW book it like this, and the only time I think they would is if there's a legitimate injury, but if there's not, this is I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they're trying to do the rubber match at All In, so they did another screwy finish like they did at Full Gear, so that way there could be no bullshit. I assume they're gonna do like a steel cage match or something like that in the in Wembley, but
can't do that. We've already booked Karen Jarrett versus Aubrey Edwards in a steel cage at Wembley. Damn it! Look at James.
Hold on, James. Let me talk.
Look at James.
Side tangent. Let me talk to him real quick. James, did you watch Rampage last night?
Yeah, I haven't yet. Wait,
okay,
is
so
that?
I'm gonna spoil you. Jeff Jarrett and his goon squad were backstage. They were about to be fined and suspended for the actions Karen Jarrett did Aubrey Everett, but they said we should be fined suspended. No, AEW should be fined suspended because there's a controversy against us. This company does everything possible to make sure that we stay down, and Aubrey Everett has literally been the scare behind all that. In comes Mark Briscoe, who had enough of their shit and literally told Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, to shut up. This is about you. This is about you and that witch. And comes in a pissed off, wearing a bandit on her head, Aubrey Everett hasn't been seen all week. As Mark Briscoe says, oh, we ain't going to find you or suspend you because we can't do that. We can't kick your asses. Mark Briscoe, the we referring to them versus Jeff and Karen Jarrett. And on the opposite side of Karen, a pissed off Aubrey Everett that literally grabbed her by her neck.
Okay.
So it sounds like we're setting up the ultimate. I never thought I'd fucking see this, but hey, she was trained by Earl Hebner. It just makes sense, right? It sounds like we're getting prepared for Mark Briscoe and Aubrey Everett versus Jeff and Karen Jarrett. Not made official yet.
That I remember. That was a thing. Where did the cage match come in?
JJ.
That was me fantasy booking coming out of there.
God. Oh my God! You gave me a heart attack. I'm like, I was like, no. Oh my God.
Aubrey Everett's in a cage as a competitor. What the fuck?
I woke up to this bombshell. I was like, what?
Relax, James. It's not official.
Okay.
Not yet. Adam Pearce hasn't joined the stream yet.
Don't give Tony Khan ideas.
No, please. I'd rather it for Jamie and Tony, please. Not.
So yeah,
I'd like to see Aubrey kick the shit out of Karen, but that's not going to be scientific by any means.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to be Beulah versus Bill Alfonso level.
No, that was scientific, though. They actually had a great match.
I wouldn't call it a great match. It lasted about 3 minutes, and Fonzie bled like a stuck pig the entire time.
He was a stuck pig. He was stuck, all right. Stuck getting his ass kicked.
Oh, God. Anyway, all right, back to our regularly scheduled program. So, yeah, State of Women's Division. Toni Storm's the champion. Jamie Hayter, for now, not champion. Injury, what extent? Do we get the redemption at All In? What do you see for the summer of the Women's Division now with Toni Storm leading as champion with 0 fucks given?
As JJ said, blood and guts for sure. Blood and guts is happening. Somehow, some way. I think, obviously, they're going to have to probably improvise now because of, Tay Conti having a child. And let's be honest, Sammy and her practically going babyface after the fact.
If not already. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think they've been on that track since this 4 Pillars build. But, yeah, they're baby faces again, so I don't think they could have done it anyway. So I think the way they're going to do it is probably going to do Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, and Willow Nightingale versus the Outcasts, Anna Jay, and Athena.
Anna Jay, really? Anna Jay's an original, though, man.
She is an original, but she's a part of the JAS still. For now. I don't know how long that's going to last, but...
But considering she's still blinded by Miss courtesy of Julia Hart and probably questioning herself at this point, and Julia Hart, was she right in saying, all you'll end up always being is alone? You tell me. Just seems like she jumps from one group to the other. Dark Order, Jericho Society, and now the Outcast. What are you doing here?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think she's going to be in a group still with JAS. You could maybe start teasing that she doesn't want to be involved in it anymore. But I think that all in all, I think that's the match they do now. I think Athena takes the spot of Tay, and the women get pissed off with Anna Jay, and she gets pissed and just kind of walks out on them. You could absolutely build that if you want. But you got to do the build because it only makes sense that a Jericho Appreciation Society member joins up with the Outcast, who Jericho teamed up with to assault Britt Baker while Adam Cole watched. It doesn't make any other sense if we don't do it this way, especially with how they build it.
Well, yeah, and again, at this point, we have no idea how they are going to freaking build the freaking women's division going forward in the summer, let alone how they're going to be presented at Forbidden Door defending either championship or, of course, their inclusion in the Owen, which, of course, will be revealed. But either way, haters probably really hate this, but I'm just holding out that Jamie Hayter gets her big moment in Wembley in her home country.
Yeah,
and that's all I got.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm cool with her going in as challenger and for her to get cheered to the moon.
Yeah. All hell breaks loose. A freaking Donnybrook in Wembley Stadium waiting to happen.
I have planned everything else that you guys ran through. I'm gonna run through it in record time. So start with the match that I missed. I'm gonna give you a quick synopsis.
Really? You're going to give a quick synopsis?
Very quick synopsis. Just flash it on the screen. Let's go.
All right. The trios match of the buy-in, the Hardys and Ethan Page.
Really, the only thing I could say about it is the pre-wrap. Buddy Matthews got owned. Plain and simple.
All right. Well, guess what? You've already watched, so I'm going to stop you right there.
Was it not
keep moving forward.
It was
that was the House of Black versus the Acclaimed.
I'm sorry. What was it?
It was the Hardys and Hook versus the Guns
and
Ethan Page.
Hold
on. Dude.
Okay.
Botch.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It was a botch because Jeff Hardy fucking nearly killed himself.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Okay, next.
AEW International Championship Casino Battle Royal. And hello, Tori. Thank you for joining in. Yes, we've all met wrestlers. In fact, JJ is a former wrestler. Anyway, International Battle Royal.
Yeah, Orange Cassidy and Swerve Strickland and Ricky Starks need to be a triple threat, or you need to do Swerve Strickland and Orange Cassidy at some point because those two fucking tore the house down towards the end.
Fair enough. AEW World Tag Team Championship, Specialist Referee Mark Briscoe, FTR versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Fuck Karen Jarrett.
All was right in the world there.
All right. That section match. Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho, Special Enforcer Sabu.
Sabu was on botch form tonight or on that night and almost killed himself also. But at least he went through the frickin' table and the spot went according to plan.
Damn it, Aaron Riff! Why'd you call that shit?
I think Sabu snorted some of Tony Khan's coke before he came to the ring.
He's Tony Khan. He's Tony Khan down.
Are you sure he wasn't with RVD and doing something else? Just saying. TNT Championship ladder match, Wardlow Christian Cage.
Well, I liked the match, and I didn't know Arn Anderson was a cannibal. Well,
right.
Well, I say he was a cannibal, but he did eat meat legitimately. I mean, he did bite a dinosaur. He didn't bite like a human. So there is.
I'm still waiting on the question. What happens when a Glock meets a tail whip? I'm just saying. I'm sad we didn't get that.
Well, we did. He bites the thumb. There you go. Yeah, I liked the match, but Christian should have fucking won. I'm sorry. I love Wardlow and everything, but I think he needed to move on from this, and I think he should have had a feud. I think he should have had a feud with MJF to wrap that up in a bow. I think he's far past this, and Christian was the guy to win it.
All right. And now we move back to our regular program since James hasn't really kicked off the match, but he kind of teased into, ironically enough, the next match that was kicking off. Yo, Lit Rise, members of the House of Black. As we had AEW Trios Championship open house match. And the trio that stepped up was a trio that is well known. It was the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, where I think their mic drop was stronger than the actual match performance itself. Dan, your thoughts on this trios match, where at the end of the day, they tried so hard and fought so hard, but in the end, keyword the end, with that spinning back heel kick of Malachi Black that's called the end, aka formerly called the Black Mass, once again, the house always wins.
Yeah, man. That was one of the craziest bars I've ever heard by Max Caster, where he just, dude, like that was one of the craziest bars ever. Literally, I think all three of us were in the room and just all went, oh!
He fucking went there.
Yeah, getting cucked by a boy named Dominic, bro. That was nutty.
After the line about being a reject from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Hey, all we know is now that Max Caster said it and Buddy Matthews didn't deny it, we know that they doing some crazy shit in the bedroom. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, scissoring the most normal thing, it sounds like. Anyway, continue.
Exactly. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed the House of Black. And just they're such a great unit, aren't they? Holy shit. They just fucking they heard that and Buddy Matthews is like, Malachi? And Malachi's like, yeah. We're fucking annihilating them. We are going to destroy them. You know this, right? we're not letting them get even when they think they got hope, we're gonna shut them right down. You know this, right? And Malachi's like, yeah. And so they did.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly a match of two people, in my opinion, JJ. Anthony Bowens got worked over most of this match and even tried the mind games, sitting at one point eye to eye in the position with Malachi Black doing this. And that led to nothing by him just getting his damaged knee, that still, by the way, is not fully healed, worked over by everybody. All 3 minutes of capacity worked it over. Started with being put in a knee bar after Malachi anticipated the Sesame Timbers and prevented that. Next thing you know, you have freaking chaos on the outside with freaking Brody King, the biggest cannonball in existence, running over Max Caster, Jesus. And then Buddy Matthews became the legal competitor and started dissecting Bowens shades of Randy Orton. But again, focus more on that knee. It was at one point that on the ropes that Bowens was able to push him off. We finally get the tag out to a freaking Daddy Ass, who comes in like a ball of fire. And as he stands his ground against all 3 men, they circle him. The end of the match.
Yeah, I really have grown fond of the House of Black. Their presentation, their work ethic, their sportsmanship, their teamsmanship, the whole nine.
Yeah.
But I'd be lying if I said I didn't want the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass to take this match just so we could see Billy Gunn with the championship in 2023.
That's fair.
Like, for real, like Billy Gunn is one of those unsung heroes of the Attitude Era. And you may argue me, be like, dude, but the New Age Outlaws were over. And it's like, yeah. But once the Outlaws broke up, Billy Gunn was on levels that he just never got the respect he deserved for.
No.
There's a reason he won King of the Ring and was supposed to go on to be champion, but then The Rock opened his mouth and just totally murdered him before he could even get the momentum going.
As soon as The Rock speaks to you, if you don't keep up with him, it's game over for you.
But I mean, Billy Gunn is one of those guys, and like, again, going back to my point from earlier about Christian winning the TNT title, Jarrett and Lethal getting the tag belts. You put that trios title on the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, dude, you're going to get so many more viewers tuning in because of the name recognition. At the end of the day, that's stuff that Tony needs to think about. And yes, it's great that he's hyping up his homegrown talent and he's trying to put the focus on them, because that's what a promoter is supposed to do. But every now and again, you need to pull that switch. And especially, you've got a brand new show debuting in a couple of weeks. You might want to put the belts, or at least a couple of them, on some household names so that when you start promoting, you know, AEW Tag Team Champions, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Jeff Jarrett still wrestling? He's a champion? International champion, Christian Cage.
Or TNT. Yeah.
TNT, whatever. You know what I mean? But like, there's this recognition to that.
Yeah.
That's because a lot of people are already worried about Collision on a Saturday in its time slot. But if you start promoting this new show with some of these recognizable names as champions going to be on that debut show, plus the return of CM Punk.
Yeah.
You know, cherry jackpot.
Ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding, ding,
exactly.
ding, ding,
True.
ding.
But
So
yeah.
I mean, I'm not mad House of Black won. It was a hell of a match. The Acclaimed did what the Acclaimed do.
And everyone loves them.
Everybody does love them, man. I would love to meet Platinum Max and Anthony Bowen for real.
Shout out to Cindy who did.
But man, I was so pulling for Billy in that match. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit bummed, even though I do feel the right team won.
I think that's fair. And during the post Road 2, even the Acclaim says they came in, they did what they did. They did the Acclaim things, and they really do want this. And more so, they want this for Daddy Az. And they still have their intentions on trying to, one way or another, overcome the House of Black. But here's a key thing to figure out during their open mic drop. We don't need a special rule to beat your emo asses. When you literally give your opponents an opportunity to try and put the match in their favor in some capacity, and you don't take that, that just, to me, screams all levels of foolishness. I felt that if they tried to do something to neutralize the House of Black in some offensive capacity, whether it's limited tags or this move can't be used or something, it could have been different. But again, with this whole idea of open house rules in now the AEW Trios division, led by the House of Black, which might I add, 1 year ago at Double or Nothing, this foursome came to be. How's that for a retrospect, especially for one Julia Hart that truly has come into her own? It's one of those things where I feel like it could have been a much different match, and maybe this next time, I'm sure they are going to meet again, it will be a different outcome, but it's going to take something extremely unique to overcome the House of Black, not just under a rule circumstance, but in a trios dynamic. I don't know necessarily Acclaim are unique enough for that.
Yeah. I do like that I got to see the one and only, because I did not expect the one and only to bust it out, to be fair. That was cool.
Did a little bit of throwback for you.
every now and again, man, they go into their bag of tricks and like, I ain't done this for a while. I'm pull this out. People are gonna pop like crazy.
He realized that, oh shit, I have bad knees, and almost didn't perform the move right.
Right.
he almost landed on them. He's like, oh shit, I can't do that. It's gonna hurt.
I'm too old for this shit.
I'm too old for this shit. This is not good.
Well, cut the shit. Speaking of cut the shit, let's go ahead and talk about this next match. And I'm going to let JJ lead this, because going into this, this was, of course, our TBS champion for over 500 plus days. And then Lavera Logan decided to go not double or nothing, but double and nothing. Because as far as I'm concerned, if she didn't win this bout, she was never going to have a chance to win this title again. It was Jade Cargill in her 60th match.
Mm-hmm.
Defending the gold against Lavera Logan for the second time with a road to Valhalla was extremely 100% legal, and literally was probably the closest death note to breaking the streak. But it was not meant to be. Now, we're going to just focus on this match, and then we'll talk about what follows after that.
I appreciate that. No, I'm not trying to get my blood pressure up just yet. So this match.
See you. Just check out the chat real quick. So now,
no worries.
JJ,
What's going
ahead.
on, Hassan? This
Everybody,
match was
ahead,
everything that I wanted and expected it to be.
Right.
Same.
It was Jade proving that she could defeat Taya even without her weapon taken away.
That close, though. That close.
Hey, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Fair enough.
You know, I give Taya all kinds of credit, all kinds of respect. The woman is a fierce competitor. Jade is just that much more fierce. And I feel like with that victory that Jade notched, 508 days, 60-0. You know, everyone always wants to talk about, oh, you didn't beat any quality talent, blah. We sat here a few times and we listed off the quality talent that she did defeat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was every match one of those matches?
No.
Hell no. But go back and look at Goldberg's streak. For every Raven, every DDP, every Hulk Hogan, there was a Hugh Morris. You know? There was a Mortis. There was a Glacier. You know, there were bullshit talents.
Yeah, jobbers.
It doesn't matter. You save the high caliber talent for the big money shows.
Mm-hmm.
And you feed the enhancement talent at the bullshit shows. I'm not calling Dynamite and Rampage bullshit shows, but let's be real, they're not the big money shows.
As they shouldn't be. That's why they need to stand the way they are. That's how TV and media works. That's business.
Exactly. It's business.
Business.
Jade was a hell of a TBS champion. They've got a hard act to follow now with what happened post-match. And we can go ahead and segue into that now. You know, after defeating Taya Valkyrie, Smart Mark Sterling got on the microphone, put an open challenge anytime, any place, anywhere Jade is willing to fight. And out came the woman that Noah's been waiting for the better part of a year to dethrone Jade.
Yes.
Chris Statlander to put the 1 in 60-1. But Chris Statlander now has some big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Jade held that belt for 508 days.
Yep.
If Chris Statlander can't hold that title belt for a year, she's already cheapened the title.
Yeah.
That's very
If she
fair.
can't hold that title for at least a year, she's already cheapened the title.
And you can say the same thing about what happened after Okada lost the IWGP Version 4 Heavyweight Championship. Nobody held it for 700 some odd days since that run. So, again, you're not wrong. To follow a streak like that is something special. But speaking of special, from the presentation to the overall big money match feel, friggin' Vegas Showgirls took me away. And then apparently the gear inspired this time by Jade Cargill was not Warner Brothers directly. It was anime. She was inspired by Demon Slayer. So, hey, we know Jade Cargill. She knows what's up in media. Good on her. Anyway, immediately Taya Valkyrie went for the road to Valhalla because it was the one thing we didn't know that if Jade could overcome, let alone endure. We already seen that again. She was unable to do that. We got sliding lariat. Next thing you know, both women are on the floor. Both Mark and both Layla played heavily in here. The sliding German suplex and then the pick of the leg. That friggin' pump kick, though, Jade Cargill got some reach. Damn. And then planted with a spine buster and then dropped her over the barricade. Brought her back inside the ring. At one point, looked for the Jada, got caught in a roll through. And then Taya curb stomped her in the mat after neutralizing Layla Gray. And then JJ, I'm sure you were literally on the edge of your seat. James and I were calling it. She hit the road to Valhalla. James, that's the closest streak I've ever seen in Jade Cargill's career to her being defeated. I couldn't believe she kicked out of that. Because, again, I wasn't sure if post-match was going to happen the same night of, because I always thought if the TBS title was going to should change in the main event of AEW Dynamite on TBS, the same show and the same spot where the champion was crowned in the first place last year in January. But again, it was not meant to be. After Taya Valkyrie was absolutely shocked that Jade Cargill kicked out of that move, she tried to go for it again, but not before Jade kicked her in place and finally set her up for the Jaded and got the win. And then your own hubris being your own downfall, that same night of, but then you saw the road to, and my gosh, what an emotional journey and a story towards redemption. And almost that point to now, you realize this is what it means to be accepted. And I don't know how I really feel about it, but I feel now I truly do appreciate it. A very subtle, humble Chris Statlander, not just in the scrum, but also in her road to conversation since being out injured since last year, August, based on the extent of her meniscus and torn ACL. Only to be clear, if not the day up, just a few days beforehand. And Chris Statlander came in as if there was nothing but silence. She hit the Saturday Night Fever, not Big Bang Theory, by the way, folks. And she got the win over Jade after Jade almost jaded her, literally after pump kicking her into next week what a phenomenal moment of return. What a run for Jade Cargill. And what a story back to redemption to reset the women's division now with Chris Statlander at the helm. And Tony Khan kept his promise. I couldn't think of a better person, more worthy, more homegrown original to carry this title following Jade. Now, again, like you said, JJ, circumstances aside, we truly need to see what Chris Statlander can bring for the long haul. And so far, after one defense in against Nyla Rose, very game match, getting her win back from AEW Revolution 2020, I think she's off to a very great start. So I'm looking very forward to Chris Statlander now as the face of TBS. James, your thoughts on this match and Chris Statlander's return?
So the match with Taya I enjoyed, but my complaint with it was it ended way too abrupt. Like, okay, so Jade kicked out of the Road to Valhalla.
Yeah.
Nobody's kicked out of the Jade. Why couldn't you? You know, like that didn't make any sense to me. Like, it's the same move in retrospect. You should at least have a little bit of drama towards the end, and then one more Jaded after a bunch of different sequences puts her away. That was
I can give you that.
That was like
the Jaded so far has been one of the only moves, as we know, not just in AEW but in wrestling, that has yet to have somebody kick out of it.
Yeah, that will change
now.
now.
So I can give you that. I think that would have added an extra little bit of spice to that match. You know, I mean, in retrospect, looking back, for her to go 59 matches and nobody kicking out of that move, and then needing 2 of them to put away Taya for the second time,
yeah,
I think that would have been a nice little touch there.
Yeah,
maybe they set that up as a suspension disbelief for the actual inevitable match to come between her and Chris Statlander. Maybe Chris will actually be the one to prove that she deserves to have been the one in 60-1, and she actually survives the Jaded.
And that's another big thing in Chris's court now. Is like I said during the commentary call, nothing taken away from Chris. I know how much you've been looking forward to that moment, Noah. But she beat a Jade Cargill that had already gone close to 10 minutes with Taya Valkyrie.
One of our longest TBS matches.
She didn't defeat a fresh, knowing she was coming, Jade Cargill.
The surprise factor, same thing with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, and Cody was able to pull out the hat trick.
Same thing with Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair.
Yep.
You know, she didn't know she was coming. No. Theoretically speaking, I mean, we all know wrestling scripted. We all knew that they knew the match was going to happen.
We all know.
But as far as the context of the storyline goes,
right?
Jade had already had a match. She was weakened.
Yeah.
Now Chris has to beat Jade at 100%, whenever that is. Whether it's the next Battle of the Belts, whether it's all in, all out, because I wouldn't do something like that at Forbidden Door. It takes away from the Forbidden Door mentality.
No.
But whenever Jade comes back from her little hiatus time off now, she's got to contend with a fresh Jade. Is Jade still going to be heel? Is Jade going to end up going babyface? Is Jade going to take this time that she's gone to get even better in the ring? Because the Jade that I saw when I started watching a year ago and the Jade that fought a Double or Nothing against Taya Valkyrie were 2 completely different Jade Cargills.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing, too, is it really was one of those situations where I genuinely believe that at some point they should have completely called an audible and she should have done an option C method or something similar to that.
I've been saying that for months, bro.
I
said that when she hit 50.
I know, guys. I know. I've heard.
I understand trying to be nice or whatever to people, but you gotta have the foresight to know when something is that good at the end of it all. You really ought to just completely change course and just go with the thing that works. Like, that's just it, man. Like, you can't you can't go and just be like, play nice to everybody and be everybody's fucking friend.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a fucking problem that we have criticized Tony for months. There are moments where it's good. There are moments where it's absolutely necessary, like with fucking Mark Davis. This wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary.
Because you don't want to miss an opportunity. Before you joined us, Mikey T was in here for a couple of matches, and he reminded the viewers of the missed opportunity with the Acclaimed, and then had to pull the trigger a couple weeks later, and people didn't care as much. They were still happy they won, but if they had done it in that match a couple weeks prior, it would have had a bigger effect.
It got stale.
If they had done an option C, like I said a long time ago, like I had suggested around the time she hit 50, and had her be like, I've had 50 successful defenses, I'm 50-0. I've had this belt for however many days now. Give me insert name here for the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Then even in a loss, the TBS title is still strong. Nobody defeated the champion for it.
Same thing they did with
Jade is still strong.
Yeah.
Because she went outside of her division. It's like when a prize fighter drops or gains weight to change classes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
She went outside of her division to try to challenge for something better. So even in defeat, she's still strong.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the champion who just defeated her is strong.
Yeah, they had a way out.
Everybody wins.
And Statlander could have won in the tournament as well.
Yeah.
Literally, the Owen in the women's side could have been for the TBS title.
There you go.
Like, it really would have put her over way bigger, I think, if they did it that way.
That's fair. That's fair. And something else we've got to make sure we point out to the viewers for all the Jade haters, because there's a lot of them out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this match was closer to the main event than the women's title was.
Yeah,
yep, it was.
Which probably
so
pissed
this
them off,
match,
but,
this match was stronger and more important in Tony Khan's eyes than Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm for the women's title.
Yep.
So give Jade her fucking flowers already.
Enough said. And we will see soon enough when the Storm will return, and if the result will be the same, with the surprise factor neutralized in the game. But for now, it's Chris Statlander's time, and we will see how the competitor More Than Woman rises to the occasion. So far,
and congratulations to Chris.
Yes, and absolutely earned it. Not just deserves it, earned it. All right. Now, guys, you and I have talked about this show verbatim when it comes to booking-wise. These two matches, per booking-wise, we have our thoughts about not necessarily just the competitors, but the order. This is the simple take. Usually I go in order of the show, but I'm calling an audible here, and I want to make sure that y'all are okay with it. Should we talk about Anarchy first or the Pillars?
I say go ahead and go in match order because I think Max made a great fucking point at the scrum. Because who the hell wants to roll around in Moxley's blood?
Fair enough. Fair enough. And you're definitely not wrong. But before I give it to James, because he's barely spoken, to talk about this, which I know he's going to end with Mouf Magnifique, allow me to simply bring it in by subtly saying this. That's professional wrestling! Damn it!
There you go.
But I digress. The AEW World Championship Pillars 4-way match. One of the greatest fatal 4-ways I've ever seen in my life. Not just the genesis of this company. Not just a proving point for these truly 4 organically homegrown AEW originals, but literally a retrospective of the current roster endorsed by the greats of this industry in their own way, if not mentored in some capacity. James, take it away.
God damn, this match was so good. I mean, so damn good. They hit just about everything. I think they went through their entire moveset and then into other people, their mentors' movesets. I think obviously one of my favorite spots of the entire match was when they all went for their mentors' finishers. That was insanely good. That was like my favorite part of the whole thing is, Darby with the Scorpion Death Drop, Sammy Guevara with the Code Breaker, and then I'm Prettier / Kill Switch by Jungle Boy, and then the Crossroads by MJF. That was outstanding. Like, did not expect that at all. And it just took a match that was already great and put it like way up here. It really was everything that I expected this to be and probably more. And Max showed out again and made this the most important thing on the show, as we knew he was going to do. And he did it in a way that made all the sense in the world. Everybody says, oh, he cheated to win, did he? He used the title belt. It was legal. He got the win legally. He got the win squeaky clean. Squeaky clean. And it was awesome, man. Like that, the whole thing, they basically did the finish that I pitched, which was do a Backlash 07 style finish, where everybody's going for broke with their finishers, and then opportunity. They did go kind of heelish with it with MJF, but really they went all out towards the end, and yeah, probably one of the best 4-ways you'll ever see. And I'm very happy with the outcome for sure. This was freaking great. This is awesome. Like, go out of your way to watch this if you haven't already.
JJ, how many mentors at this point do we think MJF literally has learned from, if not taken something from? He even used a blonde bombshell and probably broke his wrist on Impact.
Holy shit. Fuck? Yeah, I couldn't believe the blonde bombshell was busted out. That was nuts to me. I couldn't believe he busted out Candido's move out of all things. He almost screwed himself too, like bad. Luckily, he said it's only a sprained wrist, right?
That's what he said, but
okay,
it still fucking sucks. But again, this was the only thing I needed to buy this pay-per-view for, honestly, because what these 4 men did in proving we are not just the leaders of this company, we're gonna lead this fucking industry. Eric even said himself from ATW. Imagine how good all 4 of these men are going to be 10 years from now. And the subtle announcement of Sammy and Ty having a baby. Congratulations. You ain't going to see Ty Melvin anytime soon, though, but that's a beautiful thing. If that's not another notch to prove that Sammy Guevara is truly trying to be a baby face in this company of sorts, I don't know what was. And then I said it last year.
Not trying. He is.
Yeah, I guess so.
The heel runs over.
If you're connected with Chris Jericho, you're a heel in my opinion still. I don't care what you're doing, all right?
It won't last much longer. Give it like 4 months.
I'll put you to that on the clock. And then, of course, we had, the choice of consciousness. Jungle Boy Jack Perry, he had the belt. He had the stipulation in his favor. He still didn't use it. Did he truly want to be the champion? I say no, because he was not willing to do what it possibly could have taken to become the champion. Yet he still was hungry enough to cost Darby Allin, who hit a freaking coffin drop and headlock takeover on MJF. Poetic justice was literally in Darby Allin's grasp. And at the end of the day, MJF once again retained with a headlock takeover on Darby Allin. The freaking symbolism behind that and everything else in between. JJ, this was a fucking phenomenal clinic.
It absolutely was. And for everybody that criticizes AEW's booking, all 4 of these men and Tony Khan made me fucking care about these 4 individuals. Going into this match, I wasn't huge on Darby. Could take him or leave him. Wasn't anti-Darby, but wasn't a huge Darby fan. Mm-hmm. We all know where I stood with Sammy Guevara. And Jack Perry, I only kind of felt a little bit of allegiance to because he's Luke Perry's son.
Yeah.
And I kind of grew up idolizing Luke Perry and Dylan McKay. I could give a fuck all about this match. But then the layers of the onion began to get peeled back. And the story began to unfold. And they roped me into the point where I was actively cheering for Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
That says everything that needs to be said.
I'll take the money.
I was actively cheering for a man in this match that I verbally have despised and gone off on multiple occasions.
On air, by the way, too.
True.
That's all that needs to be said about the booking for this company. When they get it right, it's a fucking Grand Slam home run.
Yep.
When they get it wrong, oh my God, does it stink like 3-year-old baby diapers?
Yeah.
It's bad.
It is bad.
And this was just chef's kiss tremendous.
S-rank booking, bell to bell, in my opinion.
And,
what did I call one thing? A submission rhombus at one point?
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
For the record, I missed initially them hitting their mentors moves. Like, I didn't catch that at first.
Really?
It wasn't like I saw it happen, but it didn't register with me what they were doing. It wasn't until it got pointed out on social media, which we all know is the devil, kind of like Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Yeah, who's on his
but
level.
It wasn't until it was pointed out on social media and people were sharing the video clip that it really sunk in with me.
Yeah.
And that just added a whole other layer of chef's kissness to this match.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think about the 4-way submission that happened towards the end.
The Scorpion Deathlock, the friggin' crossface, the friggin' toe pick, the friggin'... Oh my gosh.
Just... I want to watch this match back again now. Jesus, I might actually turn off Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals to rewatch this match before open mic night. Damn it!
I'm literally going to do that as soon as we're done here with me and James Call, because this match was just so damn good. My God! And then that bombshell is like, at the wrist though, the way the wrist landed, and MJF was a non-factor, and then you had Jungle Boy, Jet Perry, and Darby Allin squaring up, and MJF being opportunist had the belt in his corner.
And then Max at the post media scrum.
Yes, let's
and
go.
They ask him about, are you mad that your match wasn't last? Like, fuck no, I don't want to roll around in Moxley's blood. Are you kidding me? Like, I couldn't help myself. I had to help myself though, because people in the house were already asleep. Otherwise, I would have been cracking up so bad. I probably would have doubled over on the floor laughing at that shit.
It was fucking funny. It was
great.
And they're just walking in, not even introduced by Tony Khan, just once again taking over and commanding the media scrum. It's the best part of every media scrum, I swear.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Because Max is going to show up. You just don't know when he's going to show up.
And when he does, he will let you know why he truly is better than you, and you know it. Talking about NJPW and Forbidden Door, NJPW just being an indie fed. I don't give a damn about anyone there except Great-O-Khan. He's a pimp. I wouldn't mind doing something with him. He's not wrong.
Great-O-Khan, he actually fucking complimented Great-O-Khan?
Yes.
Yeah, Max. We're on the same page. You damn right. Right.
All hail.
All hail, buddy.
And at this point, he's like, there's no competition because nobody's on level of the devil. Maybe I will literally take my ball and go home. Maybe I will literally ruin the legacy of this championship because I've already had a Hall of Fame legendary career. Let's look at my track record. I beat Chris Jericho. I beat Cody Rhodes. I beat CM Punk. And now I had not only the greatest Fatal 4-Way of all time, greatest dog collar match of all time. Again,
greatest Iron Man match.
Greatest Iron Man match of all time. Yeah, he beat Brian Daniels in 63 minutes. Again, who's on the level of the devil? What is truly left? Tony Khan, I'm sure, is going to try and get somebody because Tony Khan wants to take this belt off me. but he can't. So I'm just going to keep taking his money, and I'll keep wrestling when only absolutely necessary, even though we're going to hear from MJF this Wednesday. Again, MJF owns Tony Khan at this point. MJF owns AEW.
Yeah, which is good. It's not a bad thing.
MJF has taken what Punk did at Brawl Out and turned it into a good way.
Exactly.
The way he comes in and freaking befuddles Tony Khan every month.
Yeah, as by the way, after that bullshit, he should. Because everybody else wanted to, so he's the one doing it.
Tony Storm's justified in what she said about the interim shit, then, in that case.
Yeah.
He is. She's totally justified.
You kidding me?
No, I'm being dead serious. You know how I feel about interim shit. But bottom line, yeah, I'm definitely going to watch this for it. This was tremendous. Again, the constant chain reaction, chaos, fury offense from the 4 or 5 variation of destroyers to the friggin' Tower of Doom, friggin' suplex, powerbomb over into MJF to the friggin' avalanche Spanish fly on the floor and knees to the head of MJF and Jungle Boy Jeff Perry to that ridiculous Cactus Jack bang bang clothesline you called, James, that Darby Allin ran into friggin' MJF and Jungle Boy Jeff Perry, to the symbolism when MJF says, you and I, Jungle Boy, we kind of are the same, except you lack the killer instinct. You lack what it takes to be the AEW champion. Even offering him a seat next to him. And why Jungle Boy had a little bit of fire in that one promo when he had everything working in his favor, smoking gun in hand, like one last year, Hangman, he didn't do it. And it cost him.
Yeah, it did. It did. Poor Jungle Boy. Oh, wait, no. Match. I don't feel sympathy. You should have taken the opportunity. How dare you?
Again, you Jungle Boy Jack Perry, he's supposed to be the emotional babyface in this entire scenario, right? What is he now after he literally had the chance, but he still failed because
I thought that was Darby, I thought that was Darby, though. Look at him.
Well, Darby Allin's different because, again, AEW lets him be himself. And
yeah, exactly. He screams, I want to be yo.
Well, I mean, according to what we saw on Wednesday, I wonder where that man's head's at. Because, again, Darby Allin was the one that ate the fall, and MJF beat him the same way as Full Gear. Headlock takeover. It was Darby Allin that ate the fall here, guys. Keep that in perspective.
Yeah, true.
Sammy Guevara, he's got a baby coming, so honestly, he'll be fine. Jungle Boy Jack Perry, at this point, maybe a Jungle Boy Jack Perry and MJF program needs to be built somehow, because I still feel like there's more that can come out of those two going one-on-one following this than any of the other pillars at this point.
I don't know. I think the Sammy Guevara MJF thing needs to be explored more now.
Really?
I think so too, actually.
You figure all the way through this, we thought that Sammy had been bought out. He was just going to go lay down for him. And then Ty got into his ear, changed his mind. And then with the baby announcement, Max tried to play into that.
He really did.
I think that there's a lot more between those two to really explore. I'd say Jack probably second and then Darby third. But if you really want to solidify the face turn of Sammy Guevara, he needs to go against Max and capitalize on this momentum.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
One-on-one, it comes so close that Ricky Starks did at Winter is Coming. Well, maybe they could set that up for Fight for the Fallen or Fire Fest, which we both know is going to happen some point during this summer, but I digress. Either way, if you don't look at anything else from this pay-per-view in some capacity, because I know how internet does internet things too, find this four-way match.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, Sammy could say fuck Jericho, and they're going to be doing a build between Jericho and Punk. Why not have him convince Sammy that he doesn't need him? They both have the same finishers, just one's a fucking torture rack reverse style. So, hey, good work, Sammy and Punk.
Hey, that's a fair take. I mean, again, there's so much stuff that literally is on a Collision course with Collision impending. And a side note, folks, stay tuned here for me, James, JJ, Jeff. We're all going to be witnessing it, but I will be calling it as we bring you live Watch Love It coverage for the premiere of AEW Collision, where CM Punk will make his return to the United Center. and then we're going to play match game afterwards too. And that's sure to be a blank time. But that being said, we've had a lot of fun.
I see.
I think we're going to have to do a 3-man call for that because I have to be on microphone when Punk comes back.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
I have to be. And I know Jeff is probably going to want to say something when that match happens and Punk comes back. So
hey, we made a 4-person booth work before, all right? I think we can do it again. But before we get there, we've had a lot of fun, a lot of talk tonight. Let's go ahead and talk about what they call the other half of the first ever AEW pay-per-view double main event. And based on what the match was called, I'm expecting some of the conversation to follow suit in the same way after all. So here it is. Anarchy in the Arena.
Holy shit. That absolute horrible rendition of Wild Thing was one of the worst things I've ever heard. For the record. Holy shit.
Fair enough. As the Elite, Trio, Blackouts, Omega, Heyman Page, and the Young Bucks, man, Nick Jackson, who all came out singing Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas together in unison while standing on all 4 corners in the ring, took on Blackpool Combat Club's John Moxley, Carlos Nelly, Brian Danielson, and Wheeler Yuta in absolute chaos, anarchy, and truly a match with not a fatality, but a finish based on one man's broken mentality.
Yes.
All right. So who wants to kick things off with this?
Let me just say really quickly. I'll let James start, but I just have to piggyback off of his Wild Thing comment. While it would have been a lot better if he could have actually paid for the band that sings Moxley's version instead of some, cover band from the Vegas Strip. The fact that Wild Thing kept being played until the Elite shut them up very much reminded me of ECW New Jack.
I agree.
The way that Natural Born Killers would just loop over the PA over and over again until the match was over.
But here's
it
the difference.
Gave me that chaos vibe.
Oh yeah.
So even though it was a shitty fucking version, I was marking out because it took me back to that. New Jack's always been one of my boys. So that vibe totally was perfect for this match.
But here's the problem. Natural Born Killers is Natural Born Killers. This was a fucking bootleg diet version of the fucking Wild Thing.
I know.
And by the way, he's not even screaming. There's no scream in it. He's like singing it as if it was like a fucking like 2001 like emo rock cover, like Wild Thing, you make my heart sing.
He didn't want to lose his voice. He was going to be on loop the whole time. He didn't want to lose his voice.
He was on loop the whole time. I see. So that makes it even doubly worse because they didn't edit that shit in post.
Oh God!
Fucking, it's just as bad as what I gave.
Hey! That's a good song, and
it's not. It's not.
It is.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'd rather hear the Wild Thing than Carry On My Wayward Son.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but it's
for political reasons, and we all know why.
Reasons, right, JJ?
Yes, I know, but it's like, bruh.
Oh God.
Do the thing with.
Do the thing with the thing, bro.
Do the thing with the thing, bro.
I mean,
just get the actual band,
bro.
There are people, for the record, they wanted a cover band. I could have recommended a cover band that was way better than this. There was like a female. There was a female cover band that I would have totally done it, but then you couldn't super kick the lead singer after the fact.
No, that would be a whole nother political debate.
I'll tell you this.
I mean, they should have had Wild Stallions out there. I'm just saying.
The Wild Star. There you go. The Wild Star.
Wild Horse.
There you go.
Sorry, different band.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed when. That was the best part of the match to me is when the Young Bucks stopped the performance cold turkey. They became babyfaces to me again.
No,
it happened.
No,
they stopped it. And
no,
I was like,
James,
yay!
That's a bad James, bro.
Yay!
That's a Russo booking, bro.
Hey, listen, they were babyfaces that night, bro.
No, that's bro. All. I don't think so, bro.
You're both far off the rails.
Real is back in, Noah.
Okay, well, I'll try. I mean, to be fair, James, it was anarchy. I don't expect any common sense in this match, and there wasn't.
But James, go ahead and talk about the actual match portion of this. Now that we got the whole,
you're leaving that to me, okay?
Yeah. Well, now that we got the whole, performance of Wild thing out there, and we had our fun with that. Let's get to the nitty gritty here.
Yeah.
Nitty gritty. Okay, nitty gritty. So the nitty gritty is they started brawling. Right before they even entered the ring, everybody just ran up and the fight. They has beef, they has fight, and they started having the fight. At one point, I think it was Hangman, took a post shot right to the balls, getting guillotined on one of the guardrails of the arena, and to which I said, "I'm a Hangman."
From it too, as he went sliding all the way down.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah, that was straight out of those memes where you see the people like go down the escalators and they just hit their balls on it. It's like that. So that happened. That was fun. Apparently, they really wanted to go outside and do a pile driver on a truck bed. That happened. Cesaro just kept brawling with, I believe it was Matt Jackson. And
after the giant swing into the trash can that made
giant swing into the trash can. Yeah, Chavo style, just being like, whoa.
You know what spot I wish we had gotten that I haven't seen since the Royal Rumble one year?
What?
I would have liked to seen one of the Young Bucks get their head thrown through a popcorn cart. Like Undertaker did to Maven after Maven drop kicked him out of the Rumble.
Just replace the popcorn cart with the Dippin' Dots.
No. Let's not destroy the ice cream now.
Hey, they did it once before.
Throw them into the popcorn cart and then grab a handful of popcorn, shove it in the Young Buck's mouth.
Super kick.
There you go. Super kick. Make them spit the popcorn back out.
That would have been cool. Damn. That would have been cool. Well, I mean,
or chair shot to the back of the head, make them spit the popcorn out.
We did see the greatest super kick ever because Matt Jackson was like, "I'm gonna hit an exploding one. I have electricity running through my leg. Here we go, hot push." Now, I want to just point out the physics of this, but it's okay. Wrestling doesn't need to make sense all the time. But let me just explain how this does not make sense. So, if this was legit electricity, if he hit the super kick the way it was intended, Matt Jackson would be, I don't know, dead. I'm just going to let that sink in for a second.
And he's the one that executed the move.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, again, you consider that the charge would go up the leg and literally, look, we're not trying to be scientific here. That's your science.
He fucked his leg out of his leg.
Yeah, exactly.
At the very least, if he wasn't dead, he wouldn't be able to have kids no more.
He'd be sterile. Anyway,
sterile is the word. All the sperm cells gone.
Instead of a young buck, he'd be shooting young blanks.
Young blanks. There we go.
Speaking of blanks, we got a match game coming up in a couple weeks.
There you go. But yeah.
Cheap plug, and God help me if I'm hosting this thing because I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle this because I'm sober.
Well, me and Jeff have been talking slightly off tangent there. You're going to host an episode. He's going to host an episode.
Oh,
the episode he hosts, you're going to be on the panel with me actually giving answers. Because we want you and Jeff to both be able to participate, not just as hosts, but as actual panelists in the game also.
All right. So stay tuned for that.
You can't always be the host or the producer, man. We got to get you in front of the camera sometimes too, participating.
All right. So anyway.
But anyways.
So back to this maddening blank. Exploding super kick was not my 2023 bingo card. The glass infused barbed wire poker chip. That actually sounded normal because that was a Jon Moxley innovation.
Yes, that was so John. Moxley is like, I have
an exploding idea, super kick from a
chip.
Young Buck doesn't sound like something we'd get.
Right.
But the poker chip with barbed wire and everything, that's totally Moxley.
Hey. In 2019, on the stack of damn chips, Jon Moxley, DDT, Kenny Omega. So it's fitting that both those men were involved with that same poker chip. Jon Moxley just made it extreme.
But the difference is it didn't have barbed wire on the chip, and then he just decided to put barbed wire on the chip.
And glass.
And glass. Oh, yeah.
Fair,
yeah, that was
okay. So,
well, you've heard of a barbecue chip. This was a barbed wire chip.
Yeah, look at the history of Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. Lights Out, 2019, Full Gear, James. Barbed wire spider web, crying for glass in the ring. Prior to that, on an AEW Dynamite in their literal early going, Jon Moxley paradigm shift Kenny Omega through a glass table in a VIP
I
area.
know the history.
It all makes sense.
I know, but goddamn, Moxley's got too much time on his hands. That's all I'm gonna say, because that was made by him.
I think that's the reason he hasn't taken that vacation hiatus he was supposed to take before he got the freaking strap. Because all that Moxley's going to do on his vacation is think of ways to induce brutality and violence to people in the ring.
It was in a freaking workshop. He's in a workshop.
And now, according to their gear and what we saw Wednesday night on Dynamite, it's called Death Jitsu.
Fucking Death Jutsu. Yeah, it's a shop now. Death Jutsu's a shop.
Yeah, all right, it's not shot at the King's Road style either.
I got all your weapons for all your needs. What do you need?
Well, I mean, hey, look what we got. We had chairs. We had exploding Air Jordan that pissed off my friend King. Shout out to AEW. By the way, he got recognized by the Young Buck for that moment of his life. We had a freaking barbed wire, glass-infused poker chip, and we had a leaf blower. And then towards the end, we had a trash can lid, and Kenny Omega from Canada went Captain America until, like, you
that was incredible that he was
got stopped by Iron Man.
Like, holy shit, he's going Captain America on
That
him.
was so brilliant.
Captain America, he's throwing his mighty shield.
Yeah, until I got stopped by Iron Man, and the freaking uppercut in the next week. Good Lord Almighty. V-Trigger's denied with a freaking European uppercut. He hit the one-wing angel at one point, but somehow someone was able to break that up. We had a buckshot lariat. You've already talked about how you feel about that. That still wasn't enough. King Kong Bundy clotheslines. This was actually some of the wrestling that happened in this match, or not, folks. Call back to Kenny Omega and Heyman Page being tag champs. They went for the last call. Buckshot V-Trigger combination denied. Don Callis also at ringside. By the way, commentary table at ringside for first ever AEW pay-per-view. First time ever in AEW.
I feel like it was just so that way they could do table spots, even though
I guess they did use part of the table at one point. Also, Don Callis was there. And when I said this match came down to not fatality but mentality, Don Callis brings the screwdriver into play. Heyman and Page gets screwed, driver, in the head. And then Kenny Omega somehow fights back. He and Don Callis are face-to-face. Shining Wizard, though, by... Well, who didn't see that coming? Konosuke Takeshita has aligned himself with Cyrus the Virus. And Yuta screwdrives Kenny Omega, and Yuta pins Omega.
Yeah.
Blackpool Combat Club wins.
I'm not pissed that the BCC won.
No.
I figured you'd be for it.
I'm totally for it.
I am too.
But let's take a moment to realize the fact that Wheeler Yuta pinned the belt collector Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Like, that's the story here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega got pinned by freaking...
Omegan.
I'm
trying to multitask here, okay?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Got pinned by Wheeler Yuta.
Yep.
And yes, I'm gonna give Hangman some props here for a second, because again, everyone knows my feelings about him. The buckshot lariat is a great move. It's original. I like the move. But when a celebrity like Logan Paul can do it better than you, there's a problem.
Fair enough.
You might just need to retire that as your move, dude.
Because
Logan Paul does it better.
But Dead on the Apron wasn't enough, as we saw, so he had to go to Old Faithful.
Just throwing that out there. But on its own, like, that's a great move. The first time I saw it, I popped for it.
Right.
But then Heyman started running his mouth.
Yeah.
So there went that. And then Logan Paul started doing it, and it was like, he does it better.
And he just flies through it almost like his bird thing on his time.
Yeah, it's flawless. There is no wasted motion when Logan Paul does it.
True that. There was also no wasted motion when Matt Jackson's bare foot got implanted in thumbtacks, and boy.
Yeah, that made me cringe a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think James was the only one with his eyes open able to call the paradigm shift fall, because I think I was literally frozen with my eyes closed and clenching my fingers like this, because That's fucked up, bro.
You think? You think? That's just maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit.
Jesus. But yeah, Anarchy, Blackpool Combat Club wins. They define themselves truly as the professionals, the elite, and Don Callis once again at the expense of what somebody once called as a son. Kenny Omega literally chokes him with his own belt after the match. Kenny Omega lies unconscious in the ring. And you look at the fallout in San Diego. I don't know how hot it is right out there right now for you guys in California, but that's a lot of fucking heat that Don Callis Konosuke got. Unfiltered.
About as much heat as Mansfield's going to get for stealing my shtick here.
Stop it.
You know. But yeah, it's currently 86 degrees right now in California where I am. I don't know what it was on Wednesday, but it's probably been between 80 and 95 all week.
According to the weather report, we still have a high 89.
Jesus Christ.
I love that you still kept this from when Zero did it.
82 in Orlando. It was too good to pass up. It's right now 70, by the way, here in Toledo, Ohio. And now here's James Hebert with the sports report. I'm kidding. But yeah.
It's raining blood!
Which
Hey,
since you went and threw that weather forecast up, I know you don't really do social media, Noah, and I forget the guy's name on Instagram, but there's a legitimate weather report like out there, a weatherman, who will have people send in suggestions of either artists or pop culture references, and he sprinkles them throughout his weather report. It's some of the greatest shit ever. Like, he literally rickrolled a weather report one time and started throwing it, never going to give you up, let you down throughout his entire forecast.
Damn it.
Fucking hilarious.
That'll be the day someone super chats freaking gets me in a freaking striped polo with a blazer and I rickroll the entire multiverse of media. That'll be the freaking day.
And let's not forget that Josh has offered that for $50 in super chats tonight on Open Mic Night, he's going to see Taylor Swift.
Huh?
That game's going to be broken again.
I've already got a Scene Joe Hendry's theme song based off of the bet that I made with Noah.
He believes in Joe Hendry.
I still don't believe, but I'm going to acknowledge and honor my bet.
All right.
I will say regarding Joe Hendry, I was looking up his theme earlier today so I could kind of get a feel for the pacing of the song and everything.
Yeah.
And after the video for his Titantron ended, it went to a song that he did for some other promotion where he basically took Keith Whitley's When You Say Nothing at All and totally spun it on the crowd. Oh my God, that shit was freaking hilarious.
He's brilliant. He is freaking brilliant.
He was like, why bring any merch? They have no money at all. I was like, this fucker. He's starting to win me. I don't know if I believe yet, but he's starting to win me with shit like that.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I love this guy.
But really yeah, gimmick. So
anyway, back to this.
by all means, Josh, feel free to super chat. We've done the matches now. If you want to derail the show, feel free to derail it. Unlike yesterday, you derailed it after the first match.
Well, that being said, as we did talk about the entire show, JJ, this is your second ever AEW Simple Take, but this was your first full-on AEW pay-per-view. So eloquently, as we are about to try and close, lest somebody, Josh, tries to bring this thing into further chaos, what is your overall final take of AEW Double or Nothing?
My overall final take for this show is, and it's going to piss off some of the people that just want to shit all over this pay-per-view. I thought it was a great show.
Yeah,
I thought every match was exactly what it needed to be. Period, point blank. I feel like the championships that changed hands went where they needed to go, despite my personal feelings for one Jade Cargill. I've anticipated Chris Statlander getting the belt whenever she came back. I wasn't anticipating it to be 2 matches in one night.
Right.
But I did anticipate her getting the belt. So I wasn't completely pissed by it. I feel like the 4 pillars did everything it needed to do. I feel like the Battle Royal furthered stories that it needed to further. I feel like Anarchy in the Arena was the final nail in the Elite coffin for now. I am still a little bit surprised that a Second City Saint didn't get involved in that match.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We know he's coming back. Karrion Kross style. Tick-tock. Tick-tock.
Ticky-tocky.
June 17th is going to be extremely interesting.
But out of 10, I'd give Double or Nothing probably a solid 8.5. And I've heard people saying that it was like a 2 or a 3 show.
Well,
and I'm like,
2020.
I don't understand what it is that you're seeing that I'm not seeing. Maybe because I haven't seen all the other Double or Nothings.
They're a hater, not the good kind.
Yeah, exactly.
But
they're not HAYTER.
But I definitely think that this was a solid 8.5 out of 10 show. I was impressed with virtually everything. And again, let's not write Jeff Hardy off completely until we see what happens in further matches, because it could have just been ring rust, could have been butterflies back after dealing with all his vices. Let's see what happens 2-3 more matches down the road. Yeah, if he's still botching like that,
hang it up.
Then yeah, it's time for the charismatic Enigma to hang it up. As far as what people were talking about earlier about a world title run, no. Tag, maybe TNT, maybe international, give him that IC title run essentially. But I don't think as of right now he's proven reliable enough to be world champion. We can have a conversation in a year if he still has his head on straight and he was just a one-off with these botches. We can have another conversation.
Right.
But for right now, TNT International, definitely a tag run with Matt. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. Again, I've watched every pay-per-view, bought every pay-per-view. I've been with AEW since day 0. For me, when I look at the Double or Nothings, again, it sets the pace. This one did just that. We have resets across the entire AEW women's division. The Pillars was the most important match of the show, as they should have been, because, again, they are the genesis that started this company, and each of these 4 men are definitely going to be a huge part of this company going forward, if not the wrestling industry, and they proved that here tonight in what really was, despite being double main event, the first time all AEW originals main event AEW pay-per-view for the AEW World Championship. The House of Black continues to be the most dominant trio across the entire AEW Trios division, rewriting the identity of the Trios division. I said what I said during the tag title match, but it was what it was. It was a lot of fun. Each of the matches felt different, even if some of the execution for some may not agree to their standards. Jamie Hater. But it is what it is. And overall, for me, it moved AEW forward. And that's what I want coming out of an AEW pay-per-view. Josh Mansfield with a little bit of love here for you with a super chat. And he says, please have mercy. Might want to put another 0 in front of that, too. And maybe he will, but we appreciate you, Josh. He has to pay a higher price.
I appreciate you selling that for me, Noah. Thank you, Josh. I do appreciate the super chat. And it's not me you have to worry about. It's the man whose name is generally on the marquee.
Oh, you had
those Professor Jeff Meacham.
Oh, you had the perfect timing on that, actually. Noah, can you do me a favor, good sir?
What?
And show the screen real quick.
Uh-oh. What are you doing, James?
God damn it.
I saw this on your thumbnail, JJ. Like, I gotta download this. I gotta fucking crop his face.
Thank you, YouTube. YouTube generically generated that. I can't believe it did that.
Yeah, on JJ's thing, no less. By the way, I'm like, I'm downloading
which
this.
Which is hilarious to me because I'm looking at the selections that I can use for my thumbnail, and that image wasn't anywhere in there. So how it generated that one,
it did on my end.
But I just left it there. I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, Josh, you've gotta talk to Meacham.
Yeah. Talk to the boss man.
How am I going to get in trouble? Jeff's pissed off at you. He's looking at you, bud.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only thing James is getting in trouble for is showing up late for this party because he overslept.
That's it.
But hopefully, hopefully now he won't oversleep for open mic night now that he's awake, and it's only going to be in about 2 hours.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too. Like, keep this in mind. This is a show that technically I helped produce, so I could be late. So I don't think Jeff's going to care.
I was saying he's the one that gave the intro. He is the creative marketing guy. He's the Will Washington to my Tony Khan in this scenario, and I appreciate him.
He's the one.
Well, a certain one. Damn it. But I digress.
Me, listen to me, acknowledge me.
Which you know what? Since we're done and we're just kind of bullshitting anyways.
Yeah, why not?
The fact that you now acknowledge the epicness of Roman's reign. I am so happy for you, bro, for real.
Yeah, no.
I know it took a long time for you to get over what happened at Mania, and that doesn't mean you're still going to go back and start watching.
I'm not over
it. But the fact that you're willing to acknowledge what they've done now, that means a lot for me.
I put that on Roman. That's a testament to Roman.
At the end of the day, booking is what dictates everything, as we always talk about here, guys. That being said, James, as we basically get to our conclusion, what's your final take of AEW Double or Nothing?
Well, I have two final takes. One's about the Roman's reign. When you realize that Roman's whole shtick is just the Meet the Fockers storyline played out in wrestling. I made that realization the other day, and I'm like, this is just the Meet the Fockers story plot. The whole bloodline and everything.
I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know.
Yeah, you'll notice it. You should do it for Renegade's reviews, and then be like, "Oh shit, he's right."
Never it's exclusive. There you go.
There you go. Okay, so my final take on Double or Nothing. I agree. I thought it wasn't. Put it this way, right? I think it was a great show. I don't think it's their best effort. I think that would have been at Revolution. Revolution was too fucking perfect.
You're not going to top that Iron Man match. I think the Iron match is still one of my match of the year candidates, not the match of the year candidate for me.
Yeah. We'll see what happens in Wembley, obviously.
True.
But the show still ruled, man. Like, and I had a great time. Certain things I questioned booking wise, but I understood why they did it, so I wasn't like too mad about it. But you know. It was a good show. I enjoyed it.
As long as you're, satisfied as a fan, that's all that matters. And as we saw in the Fallout, which, again, I'll slowly just run through, we saw the backstage pissed off altercation with Saraya and Chris Jericho, pissed off at Adam Cole and Britt Baker. So they wanted a bit of redemption. Tony Khan gave them a mixed tag team match this past Wednesday on Diamond main event. Britt Baker and Adam Cole won. I think we finally can put the Chris Jericho through the rest, and both can move forward. Well, Adam Cole at least can move forward. As far as Britt and Saraya, you be the judge about that. Chris Statlander had her first defense of TBS Championship success against Nyla Rose, not only getting her win back from AEW Revolution in 2020, but it got some good TV time. It was a good TV match. Blackpool Combat Club running Def Jitsu now with Bryan Danielson on commentary. They beat Bandito, Commander, and what was the other luchador? Rey Fenix. I'm losing it here. Rey Fenix. And that was a very game match. Again, a lot of lucha spots there. That was a lot of fun.
Great lucha things.
Yeah, Ricky Starks and FTR, they seem to be working together now against Bullet Club Gold, but Juice Robinson dropped Dax Harwood with a fistful of quarters, literally. And Ricky Starks ran him off with a steel chair. So now we got Ricky Starks versus Jay White one-on-one. FTR and Juice Robinson are banned from ringside this coming week. In the continued fallout, like I think you alluded to it, the triple threat, we saw that. That's a rare stipulation, by the way, to see at AEW, just on TV, but it actually made a lot of sense and worked very well. Big Bill, Trent Beretta, and Swerve had a triple threat. Swerve got the advantage, pinning Trent, and it will be Swerve versus Orange Cassidy now for the AEW National Championship this Wednesday. Again, has Orange Cassidy finally been juiced enough to the fact you could lose this title? We'll see soon enough. So
and what else is happening this Wednesday, Noah? Mixed tag team match, right?
I don't know if that's going to be official. There's no graphic. Okay, there's no graphic. I'm just going to put that out there. There's no graphic. All right? If someone, I expect the melts to be all over this. If someone puts the graphic out, damn it, I don't care what time of day, what time of night it is. You direct tag me on that shit if I don't know about it and let me know when I'm calling it, because I cannot wait to see Aubrey Edwards freaking rip the weave off that bitch and send that witch back to wherever she came from, so Karen Jarrett no longer exists on my screen in AEW television. But I digress. And then, oh God, what else freaking happened? Yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. And of course, as Tony Khan subtly announced on freaking Collision, he's back, folks, CM Punk. And we will be calling that, of course, on June 17th. But yeah, I overall enjoyed this Double or Nothing. I don't think it was the strongest Double or Nothing. Definitely not the strongest pay-per-view this year in general for me as a wrestling fan, particularly also versus Revolution in AEW. JJ, Behave, and Senator back to where she came from. So Kurt Angle, right? Kurt Angle has higher standards. Oh, sorry, not sorry.
Anyway. I don't want to relive those times. Nobody does.
Look, I'm trying to be civil here. You guys are pushing my boundaries. That being said, AEW Double or Nothing, great pay-per-view. I'm going to immediately go back and watch our callback of the last two matches in particular, too, because I actually have enough time for that and grab something to eat and grab a drink, too. So I think this is where we will conclude. So thank you, everybody, once again, for tuning in to another Simple Take as we bring you our afterthoughts of the biggest shows in all things wrestling. Before we conclude, James, you may be tired, but you're always here. And again, always appreciate your take. Anything you want to plug, promote, where people find you?
Well, first off, oh, wow, I'm way too loud. You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/user/jhibbertside95. Basically, I have a bunch of content on my channel again. We did Indie Force. We did a watch party. It was fun. It was great times. You should go watch those. It was great. And yeah, man, just watch that and watch everything from my trailer tonight. We're going to be airing a trailer on Open Mic Night. Wrestling with Idiocy.
Is it updated because it's a new month? You know that, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty much close to having everything updated. Yeah. Everything will be on demand, by the way. It won't be there's nothing upcoming as of right now, but everything is up to date when it comes to the on demand shit. So yeah, it's all getting updated. I literally was updating it as we're doing the show, but yeah, be on the lookout for that. That'll be on Open Mic Night in a couple hours from now, so be on the lookout, man.
All right, Mike, you're in the wrong show to be posting that type of update. Thank you very much, though.
Well, I did say here's James with sports. I guess Statboy came with sports at 6 after we talked about the weather at 5:30, but I digress. That being said, JJ, I know we only got a short bit of time to rest before you get to host, of course, the Saturday night shenanigans. But I think this was a good buy-in towards what's ahead. So besides that, anything you want to promote?
You can find me on Instagram, the Renegade JJ Williams, Twitter, ROWJJ Williams, and YouTube, Casa D18 Studios. I know some of you guys right now are watching on the channel. Thank you very much. Make sure you join the members only section if you want some exclusive wrestling content, like me and Noah calling Battleground from this past week. We put that up on Thursday. We finally got to go back since NXT decided to run that show opposite AEW Double or Nothing. But it is what it is.
If you will.
I've been conversating with Jeff about potentially come next year moving NXT watch-alongs to be exclusive content for the members only section.
All right.
So we'll just have to see what happens. My goal, though, is to get up to about 25 subscribers before that jump is made.
Yeah, there you go. Make subscriber milestones.
But yeah, you know, we've got Open Mic Night tonight, as you mentioned. I don't know if you still have that graphic, Noah, loaded and want to run that up.
Yes, I do. And I'm sure we're going to have a fun time indeed.
Yes, we're going to be discussing all these topics and more. Trying to bring some positivity back to the IWC. You know, for too long, it's been negative. And unfortunately, sometimes the news is negative and we do have to report it. But when we have a week where there's just so much positive news, we just got to try and get through as much of it as we can.
Amen to that.
So we got all that and more coming up on Open Mic Night tonight. You're hearing it first here tonight, and I'll say it again later on. There is going to be no Warzone tomorrow.
Oh.
Mainly because I feel like I've done a shit ton of Dollar Tree lately because of having all of those 50-cent movies that I did. Dollar Tree movies were like for 6 weeks. And that's pretty much all I have to show again right now is some, now that the price has gone back up, some Dollar Tree movies. And it's like, I don't want to do that just yet. I want to put a couple weeks of other content out there before I go back to the Dollar Tree well. So I'm waiting on a few things to arrive in the mail. Probably won't arrive until Monday. So taking a week off of the Warzone this week. But make sure you guys tune in for Renegades Reviews, where we celebrate Johnny Depp's 60th birthday all month long. Had Crybaby go up yesterday to kick the month off. Today, just before we went live today, new release Saturday was Crater, a Disney Plus original movie. Coming next week for Johnny Depp, we've got Benny and June, Don Juan DeMarco, and Nick of Time. Wrapping things up with new release Saturday next week with Still, a Michael J. Fox movie, kind of chronicling his whole Parkinson's journey ever since being diagnosed back in 1990. So that should be interesting. Got a lot in store, so make sure you guys tune in for that. And then, of course, we've got watch-alongs aplenty, kicking off with Against All Odds this coming Friday from Impact.
Kelly, Masha Slamovic's dog collar match. Let's fucking go.
Sorry, continue.
Okay.
You okay there, Noah? You need a moment, fan you down?
I like violence, and I've never seen red and violence look so much more enticing than what I'm seeing lately in Impact Wrestling. But I digress.
This is very weird, bro. That's sus. That's sus.
Dude, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, I know. But still, bro, it don't sound great to the naked eye. That's all I'm saying.
Bray Wyatt did enough redlining. There was no blood involved, and people bought into that shit until the Red Creative Hate in 2019. Oh, sorry. Anyway, continue.
So everybody, just make sure you guys tune in for open mic night tonight. We are still looking for a female contestant for Match Game in a couple weeks. So looking for that. And then we've got me singing Joe Hendry's theme song tonight.
Yes!
Paying off the bet from last week. Again, if we get $50 total in super chats, it doesn't have to be one person donating $50. If we get $50 total in super chats before Mansfield has to tap out for bed, he will sing Taylor Swift. So
boy, you're crazy.
We love to split the super chats up when it's something like that. So 25 to Meacham, 25 to me, and Mansfield sings Taylor Swift.
The better chance of that happening versus me singing whatever the fuck that Peaches song people are talking about from the Mario movie. I haven't even seen that shit yet.
Look, Scott's pondering it. Scott's pondering it.
Oh boy, here we freaking go. JJ, quick question for you: is there going to be a Renegade movie review for American Gangster?
Probably at some point. I like to try to theme my months. I haven't done a Denzel month yet. So if and when I get to Denzel, that could be in there. That also could be in a biopics month, as it is essentially a true story. So there's a couple of different ways that I could work it in. Just haven't figured out a spot yet. And Scott, if you're going to do it, don't do it now. It has to be during open mic night. So just make sure you come back in 2 hours and do it then.
Yes, indeed. Because the Saturday night hoopla will continue on with the weekly nightly shenanigans hosted by JJ Williams. But JJ, I always appreciate what you bring, and I always appreciate your simple take on all things wrestling too. And I hope everybody appreciated the conversation and Mikey T dropping in as well. So thank you everybody for tuning in as we are about to conclude. But if people do want to know more about me, know this: for I am just a simple man that likes violence and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it!
Buy the shirt.
But I don't market myself, but I digress. Find me on primarily the Twitter and on YouTube at Foster1916 for all things wrestling. Shout out, of course, the entire ATW family on the Twitter and our social media platforms. We recently did our latest ATW View. If you get a chance, go check it out. We talked about the following and so much more too. And we probably will come back after the premiere of Collision and once we know what the Owen is as well, if not during Week of Forbidden Door, but shortly following after that too. Stay tuned for continued coverage of all things All Elite Wrestling with AEW Spark, weekly, courtesy of Victor Productions. They pulled me out of retirement the last few weeks, but I think Owen's going to finally be dragging the driver's seat. So
yes, he is, and I can confirm Owen Finch is on the saddle with Noah Foster.
Well, there you go. All right, that will make my life a little easier. Shout out, of course, to the entire City Predicting family as it continues to grow. Got to add 0 to the thumb as well. And stay tuned, folks, as JJ alluded to, the brainchild of my channel is not just this, but is, of course, City Predicting. And it's not stopping anytime soon. With this week, as we know, we got Against All Odds. That will be Friday, 5:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time before our live watch live event. And, of course, we got Forbidden Door, we got Money in the Bank, we got Slammiversary, SummerSlam, Bloodiverse United 2, Emergence, and, of course, AEW All In. Of course, also AEW All Out will shortly follow that. And as we learned last night, there it is, guys. Your Ring of Honor preview of the summer. Death Before Dishonor. So stay tuned for our City Predicting some point on that in July, as well as a live watch-along event. And as politely alluded to, of course, coming up, we will cover the premiere of Collision with the return of the Second City Saint at the United Center, and then have a fun little match game, which I'm sure it will be all is fine, all will be peaceful, nothing will go blank. But again, stay tuned for more on that.
I want the chaos. Give me the chaos.
Of course you do.
Same. We can do one game and have it be a simple game for the simple man. But the second game has to be anarchy in the arena.
Oh, yeah. Good Lord.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Collision, to be fair. Like, I want the chaos in Collision, to be fair.
To be fair, there's going to be chaos under both platforms. I can already tell. Scott can't wait for Punk. I'm sure a lot of people can't, mixed reaction or not. Benny, good to see you as well. But also talking about other things that we will react, seeing collisions come forward, and so much more too. Because here on the Championship Multiverse of Media, we don't just bring you coverage domestically, we bring you coverage of stuff internationally, and not just WWE. For Bundesliga, we will be going back to New Japan Pro Wrestling with our After Dark Watch on Live event coverage of their second biggest show of the year, Dominion. Which
I got you. Hold on, real quick.
Go ahead.
New Japan Dominion.
All right, very nice. And of course, that will include Carl Casano's NJPW debut. Will we see where Kenny Omega's been and what he's been up to? Lance Archer will Ospreay face Sharp 1-on-1 in the open to see who challenges for the IWGP United States Championship next. Yoda Tsuda, newest member of Los Ingobernables de Japón, will challenge Sonata for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Zack Sabre Jr. defends his gold against Jeff Cobb. Master Wato looks to finally beat Hiromu Takahashi for his title. And we will also learn, most importantly, the participants in this year's G1 Climax 33, which of course will be covered by me and Casey. Casey, I'm so glad you're doing well, my friend. Looking forward for our annual bracketology and tradition. And that's just some of the stuff coming up in the short run here, too, across the WWE and my Sipple brand, too. But as always, I like to conclude, there are no winners, there are no losers, there are no betters, just fans with opinions, with this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality, too, treasure your families, and just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It's as simple as that. But with that being said, thank you so much once again for tuning in. Please subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell to know this video goes live or on demand on the show or any of the channels of the Multiverse of Media. Support this man. He monetized, if you will. Super chat him. Give him a super sticker. Show him some love. And I assure you, we're going to keep doing this. Our passion and our content creativity is not letting up anytime soon. But for Mikey T, for James Hebert, for the Renegade JJ Williams, for Jeff Meacham, who was involved in last night's Simple Take of Night of Champions, this finally concludes the professional wrestling weekend of Madness 2. We did it. All 4 shows covered and freaking analyzed. Dadgummit. Until next time, we'll be with you shortly tonight for the shenanigans that are Open Mic Night. And again, for those that haven't tuned in, tell a friend. 11 p.m. Standard Time. There's no telling how long we might go tonight.
Yeah, that's true. I almost
and JJ
forgot.
will also endorse Joe Hendry.
Yeah. I almost forgot as well about plugs. YouTube.com/wrestling user. Sorry, wrestling. YouTube.com/user/wrestling1444 Rundown coming up with all of these guys, and plus Owen Finch. He's gonna be back on the saddle hosting that too. We're bringing it back. Cool.
The Talkinator. Good to know he's back. And I guess we'll be back here with Open Mic Night, literally in just under 2 hours too. So until then, mega positive impacts in life, and I guess until Open Mic Night, if you're conscious enough for that madness, I certainly will be 100% this time. Have a good night. This has been another Simple Take for AEW, and it's been a lot of fun, and I think they hit the jackpot on multiple fronts. See you next time.
Good night, everyone.
Whew.